Okay, so Joe, you were just saying you did mobility and cardio, and you're saying every single day.
Every single day. Yep.
So is this the new age of powerlifters? Because mobility and cardio sounds. I mean, I know we all should be doing it, and it's not like it's just now that's coming around, but every day, daily, you're on it. Like how much cardio mobility are we talking?
So I do a mobility routine. It's just shoulders, back, and hips usually every day. So it takes around 20 to 30 minutes. But the cardio is simply dependent on my steps. So I do shoot for 10K steps a day. And let's say for example, like today, I didn't have school, I didn't have gym. So I basically just hang out with my girlfriend all day. Went to the clubhouse, hopped on the treadmill, walked outside for a bit. So that was basically my day, so to say. And then if I do have school or I do have like a gym session, I'm basically, doing more steps throughout the day naturally. So on those days, I'm doing less cardio. But for a day like today, it's almost an hour of cardio to get the 10K steps. But on a regular day, it's usually 30, 40 minutes at most.
And what are you going to school for?
Kinesiology. I'm at UCF in Orlando. It's my last year actually. I graduate this December, so
Oh shit! And what do you want to be?
I just want to keep doing what I'm doing now. I don't want to change a thing.
That's right. Look at man, this day and age, you can make a full-on living from being a powerlifting coach. And if you're a successful powerlifter, all the better, man. This
Exactly.
was not the way it was previously. And we're not talking ancient history wise, but now more and more, and with online coaching, with apps, the whole nine, and you being an athlete is like your own business card, and everybody's
Exactly.
watching.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. Have you always so you started powerlifting when you're 15 years old?
Correct. Yeah, I was 15. I didn't know anything about the sport. Like I pulled up to the meet. I didn't even know we were squatting, first of all, because I looked at like the website. It was USAPL meet. I looked at the website and I saw a push pull. So I was like, oh, I guess we're not squatting at this meet. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I didn't have any knee sleeves, no squat shoes. I was wearing like Adidas with like the foam at the bottom. I pulled up and then they're like, all right, let's get the rack heights. So I got my bench rack height and they're like, all right, let's get your squat. I was like, what do you mean squat? They're like, we're squatting at this meet. It's powerlifting, squat, bench, and deadlift. I was like, oh damn. So I got my rack
Was it
height.
the did you see the wrong meter? Or like what happened?
I had no idea. Like I saw full power and I didn't know what full power meant, but I knew what push pull meant because I was like, all right, push
Yeah,
pull legs. I just know what that means. I didn't know what
yeah.
full power meant. So it was a totally different concept. Like I thought I guess I read it, and since I didn't know what it meant, I just like scanned over it, not knowing like anything. I saw push pull. I was like, all right, squat.
So was
We're not
push
doing that.
pull an option? Was it an option but you accidentally signed up for the full power?
No, I did sign up for full power. I just didn't know what that meant. I just saw push pull on like the like in big words, push pull on the website slash full power. And I was like, well,
Oh,
I don't know what full power means. I think full power is just like a powerlifting term for like lifting heavy or
we're going
something.
all out. Yeah, like, well, I'm not gonna not max out. Well, of course, full power.
Exactly.
Did someone sign up for 80% today?
I was gonna bring all my power regardless. I didn't know.
That's like, all right, it's a silly question, but I'll check that box. It's
Exactly.
amazing.
I ended up PRing on the squat regardless. So
Nice.
it was a good
Nice,
day. It
man.
was a good day.
I mean, you were 15 years old,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
didn't have a program or anything. I was PRing whenever I wanted, whenever I felt strong. If I ate enough calories that day and I didn't do anything dumb, I was able to PR regardless.
Yeah. So how did you were you you must have been weightlifting obviously before this. Like how did you get into sports? What were you like as a kid?
So growing up, I was always pretty athletic. I was always like a big kid though. I was on the not the chunkier side. I wasn't obese by any means, but I was known as like the thick kid, the big boned kid, right? So I played baseball all throughout my life from like six to all the way until I graduated high school. So 17. I did that. So over 10 years of baseball. But I initially got into lifting weights for baseball. I did that between or going into high school. Yeah. So I was going into high school. I wanted to make the team. And I was like, what better way to like become a better ball player to instead of like, just getting stronger, running faster. I need to improve my body because I was also a short kid. I was only a 4'8" going into high school. I was a midget. I did grow though, so Thank God.
4'8".
Um,
You know what? For a second there, my mind autocorrected 5'8". I'm like, yo, that's a big
oh
kid.
no, I'm 5'8"
Four
now.
eight, 4'8". Oh shit. Wow.
I was a very short kid. Maybe exaggeration, but I was under 5 foot going into high school. That's all I know. I was like prepubescent too. No armpit hair, no nothing. Little TMI right there, but
That's
I was
adorable.
not developed at all as a kid. But I was always strong, which is weird. Like I had the strength of like I guess a high level teenager, but I was only like 13, and I don't know what God blessed me with it, so I'm happy. But yeah, the height wasn't there. I did end up growing. But back to what I was saying about training for baseball. So I did
Yeah.
that. Um, I didn't make the team, but it was just JV, so it didn't mean much. But I did notice that I was really strong and a lot stronger than my companions and my teammates. So I was just training hard, and I just ended up falling in love with that. And then someone I knew at the gym was also a baseball player. He was much older than me though. I was 13. He had been like 26 at the time. So I kept asking him questions about baseball, how to be better, but also how to lift, in the gym, right? Because he was also a power lifter on top of being a baseball player,
Oh wow.
and he got me into the first meet. He's like, "Yo, you're benching like I forgot what I was benching at the time, like 240 maybe. I'm not. I don't have my open powerlifting up, but he was like, "You're benching pretty good weight. Might as well like try deadlifting and try squatting." So I was like, "All right, might as well." Tried that out. I wasn't as good at it. I was a pretty good bencher starting off, but squats and deadlift came around shortly after, and I did my first meet, not knowing I had a squat, but like I said, I PR'd regardless. And he was actually at my
Wow.
first meet. He kind of coached me into it, the baseball player at the gym I was with. And yeah, ever since then, like I just been pushing, and I figured out I was better at lifting weights than I was at playing the game of ball, right?
Is your like dad into weightlifting, or do you got brothers and
No,
sisters?
I have a brother. He did help me out in the weight room, but nothing serious. He can throw around like 315 on the bench, but he's an ex-Marine, did 8 years in the
Oh
service. So
damn.
yeah,
Oh
two
wow,
tours.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh shit, 2 tours as well.
Afghan and Iraq. Yeah.
Holy smokes, man. How much older is he?
He's 33, so he's
He's a
15,
grown
no,
ass man.
13 years. Yeah, 13 years older than me.
So he was kind of like he was a brother. I got friends who have siblings that are like a big age gap. And when they're
Yeah.
younger, they're like an uncle in that they're not your peer because they're not like my brother's like 2 years older. But I had buddies who were brothers who were like 10 years plus sometimes, some of them.
Yep.
And when they would come around us, it would be like an adult is coming around and you're like, it's a little different. It was a little
It is.
different, but you could still look up to him and whatnot. But you're in different parts of life entirely.
100%. Yeah, he left when I was only 5 to go in the Marines, so
Well, there you
I
go.
didn't really grow up with him to a sense, but he did end up moving back for like a year to save money for, a house and just an apartment and all that. But it's actually crazy. He has a daughter, and I'm closer in age with her than I am with him.
How
So
crazy. And
yeah,
that I got this happens. That happens, from time to time. And for sure, if you're closer to his daughter's age, and obviously that's her father. So for sure, he will have like somewhat uncle vibes in terms of at least when you're younger. How is it now?
yeah.
Does it feel now when you're both adults? Is it like brothers?
I
I guess
think
it's
so.
all
It's a lot better
but
than before. It is a lot better than before. We get on each other somewhat, like we kind of like roast each other back and forth for like dumb little
good.
things.
Okay.
We talk a lot about sports, especially basketball. He actually got me into the game. And that's like the only real sport outside of powerlifting that I do follow on a daily basis. I'm like a big basketball fanatic.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
he did influence me somewhat, but I guess now since we're actually living in different parts of the state, he lives 4 hours down south. Um, but we don't really talk on the daily basis, but when we do, it's more so as peers on the same level. But I know he's still ahead of me because he is 13 years older than me. So
You'll catch up though, man. But like,
yeah.
so I got a younger sister who's 6 years younger, and my brother's like 2 years older. And when we were coming up, and I was a teenager, he was a teenager, we were still tight. Early 20s. We're both in early 20s, same time. We're tight. And my sister was like, we got no time for that kind of funny business. Like she wasn't like we don't what the hell is going on in her life? We don't know. We were just when we were in high school and she's a kid, it was like we don't know what's going on in your life. We don't care. It's lame. We're doing our damn thing. But then later in life, things even out. and you're more and more on the same plane and whatever, and it's a little different. But
Mhm.
it's all different stages, man. You're just 21 years old now, right?
Yep, I turned 21 back in November, so 6 more months till I'm 22.
I got quick question because you're a basketball guy. Who's the GOAT, LeBron or Jordan?
All right. GOAT, I'd give LeBron better player Jordan
Oh wow, what an interesting. Tell me why. Why is this?
because Jordan's peak, like, okay, so if I want to like win one game, like money on the line, all or nothing, I'd pick Jordan for that one game. But LeBron's been doing it for 21, about to be 22 years, and sustained greatness does have to play a part in the GOAT conversation. So I just have to pick the person with the slightly less dimmed candle, but a much longer burning one. You know what I mean?
Hmm. I GOAT is such a tough debate. Look, we done tons of debates on it in
Yep.
powerlifting, but in all sports. And what makes it like obviously Jordan had a sustained run with the Bulls, but LeBron's run is absolutely it's ridiculous. A player came up to him that he's facing, and the player was like, I forget who you might know, and the guy's like, "You played against my dad." Like
Yep.
LeBron is playing his contemporaries and his rivals' kids now.
Yep.
You
Exactly.
know, it's crazy. Whereas Jordan didn't stick around that long.
Yeah, well, he had that double stint in he retired, came back, retired again, came back to the Wizards, and did that for 2 years, but he never played against, I'd say, any of his yeah, he didn't play any of his players or opponents' sons. Whereas LeBron,
Right.
he's actually playing against his own coaches. And he's like JJ Redick, for example, that was someone he played against, and he's about to be a coach. Tyronn Lue was a coach, and he played against him. So there's a lot of people he's played against, and now they're coaches. And now, like you said, their kids are becoming players, and he's about to be 40 years old. So that a 40-year-old
Wild man.
man, he's been in the NBA longer than he's been alive. Or no, he's been in the NBA longer than he hasn't been, if that makes sense.
Yes. No, it does. Now I got you. No, because
Yeah.
he went in at 18,
Yep.
like right out of high school, no college. So he's in his lifetime. That's a wild stat. He's
Yeah.
in his lifetime. He's been in the NBA more years than he hasn't.
That's
Like
crazy.
this is literally all he knows. I mean,
Mhm.
that's an exaggeration, but it's the majority of like all of his growing up and becoming a man has been done in the spotlight. I remember, look, I'm older. I remember when LeBron signed as a teenager and the millions and millions and millions of dollars that he was going to make because he skipped college straight to. And the conversation at that time was, is it too much too soon? What's it going to do to a teenager to have all this star power, all this fame, all this money, all the accessibility? You can get in a lot of trouble as a
Yeah.
teenager with that kind of money. And I mean, spoiler alert, everything obviously worked out okay. All these he's 40-year-old man and didn't fall off the rails or nothing. He's still around doing his damn thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, it's remarkable. He might be in terms of all the goats from all the different sports, he's got to be up there. It's just difficult because when you look at like hockey, or are we talking Gretzky? When we talk about football, who are we talking about now? Is it
Brady.
who,
Yeah.
it's got to
You
be
got to,
Brady.
has to be Brady.
And then when we talk basketball, for a while there, Jordan now Jordan slash LeBron. But who is more dominant in what sport and who is? I mean, there are hockey guys who would be like some people will be like, "Hey, Gretzky, you're like the Jordan of hockey." And some hockey guys will say, "My friend, that's an insult to Gretzky if you look at his stats." And I don't know. It's a very difficult conversation because not all sports we know in powerlifting, talent pool makes a difference. And some people
Yeah.
might say, I don't know what's more global, hockey or basketball. Maybe in Jordan's era, it was more North American centralized, but in LeBron's era, it's far more worldwide.
You got the FIBA World Cup now and stuff. So, and most of our top talented basketball players are all from Europe, like Luca. Who else is there? Like Shy, he's from Canada. Shy Gilgeous Alexander. So there's a lot of international players that are running the league. Joel Embiid, for example, there. Nikola Jokic, like these are all NBA
Yeah.
MVP caliber players, and they're destroying the league. And there's not much homegrown talent anymore.
like I wonder. So, do you think that's a credit that LeBron can hang when the talent pool is like? Is this? I'm not a huge basketball guy. Is this as big a participation globally basketball as it is like right now? Are we at
Oh
the
yeah,
peak
it
of it?
gets bigger every single year, just like powerlifting, it gets bigger and bigger, 100%.
So that's got to be taken to a bit of account and help sway towards LeBron as well in my book.
I think the average player, okay, so any star player from any era, so from Jordan can dominate any era. That's not the issue. It's more so the bench warmer, the sixth, seventh, eighth guy on the team. Those guys wouldn't stand a chance in today's era. But the guys, the sixth, seventh, and eighth guy on the team today would be a pretty solid role player back then. But the star players, like I said, Jordan, even like Kareem, for example, if you want to go real far
Mm,
back,
yeah.
he can still make noise in today's era as long as he has, the good shoes, the good equipment, the actual sports science to develop in today's era. He'd be fine. Yeah.
So how far back is it when it's like this is starting to be nonsense? Like Wilt Chamberlain or like
Before Wilt, I'd say like Bill Russell and Wilt would still be good if they had today's technology and they grew up in today's technology. But before that, like when you had like the ABA and NBA split, and then but they didn't allow African Americans to play in the league. Like ever since or before that, like that didn't count, bro. That does not
yeah,
count.
no shit. On the leading score, there wasn't a black hand in the league, my dude.
Exactly.
That's yeah. You kind of limited the talent pool you're dominating by doing that. I only play children as well. Did I mention that? It's like what? It's like powerlifting when we use those filters and shit like that in open
Yeah.
powerlifting. I'm ranked number one. If you sort out everybody, like that's ridiculous. But yeah, there's a point of when you go so far back. I talked about this a little bit on the Rondell podcast when you look at guys like Babe Ruth and shit. You go too far back into baseball, it's not quite the same. Like it's you respect, but we talked about it how some of the goats we had in powerlifting, can you consider them goats now when we've come so far and you look at their numbers and to your point about you could be the sixth man on the bench and you go back 30 years and you would be like an all-star. Whereas
Yeah.
nowadays, you are at the top end at the world championships or whatever have you. And if you're ranked 5 or 6 or 7, you could probably win a world title in the early days or, be dominant. So it kind of, you have to recalibrate every now and then. And it's a weird, this is what happens in sports. We're seeing in big sports, let alone powerlifting, but I think with us, it's happening a lot quicker.
Yeah, for sure. We're just exploding, especially with social media nowadays. Like that's probably where most of our newcomers are coming from, seeing people like Russ online or just going on YouTube and seeing Larry Wheels. Like that's what's branching our sport outwards. So the technology is basically, well, I think social media is where powerlifting it has its biggest impact, I'd say.
Like, put it this way. You were like fresh out of your teens as a 75 kilo lifter and already hitting 800 kilos as a total. And when you started powerlifting, IPF magazine, and this isn't like generations ago, we're talking 2018, right? On the IPF magazine, IPF used to have a magazine, was Brett Gibbs. Brett Gibbs, like a legendary Brett Gibbs, and in big, bold numbers, 800. Because the great Brett Gibbs was chasing the 800 kilo barrier. And now we have, 75 kilo lifters crossing that like
Yeah.
at 20 years old, and you're just like fresh out of your teens, like, hey, that's cool. Was that a lifetime goal of an all-time great? Because that's something I'm doing, like it's
Yeah.
crazy now. You have to recalibrate. Everything's
100%.
changing so quickly.
Yep.
Well, who is when you got in, who are the people that you were like when you first started hopping online that you found, you started following? Who was big at the time? Who did you start following?
So I first looked into my own class, and at the time it was Perk, Pug, C, and Atwood. So it was like
Oh,
that era, the golden era of the 74s.
oh yeah, the
I
four
know I knew at
kings.
the time Perk won the University Cup, I believe.
Yep,
That's what's called.
yep.
C won the title for Junior Worlds. And I think this was before Atwood did his 800. Yeah. Actually, I was at the meet that Atwood did his first 800.
No
So
shit.
yeah, it was the meet. I totaled 640 at 17. He was at the PM session though. I didn't see him because I guess Owl was too good for the AM session at the time. But I don't know what happened with that, but I didn't see him personally, but he was at the same meet I was at. So
Dude, well, first off, how crazy is it how things can progress? It's like a lesson for like everybody. You don't know who's in the like you're in prime time. You don't know who's hasn't made prime time yet, but is at the same meet as you. You don't
yeah,
know who it is, who's on the come up. And Russ has been on here. I remember he said back in the day, he said it on the podcast. It's weird to it plays out in real time, but years ago, Russ was on the podcast and Jamar came up to him at some expo or something. Jamar Royster and was like, you don't know me,
yeah,
but one day. And I remember Russ was like, and he mentioned it on the podcast. And years later, here Jamar is putting up like 830, I think 832 or something like that. And he was the number 283 anyways. Jamar has now moved up to the 93s. But
yep.
I mean, how many guys have probably sent Russ a DM or Taylor a DM being like, I'm on your ass, watch yourself. And they're not even close. Right. But
I get the
and it
same
doesn't
DMs.
pan out.
I get the same DMs. I know.
Do you really
Yeah,
already?
I just respond like, keep up the good work. I hope I see you at the top. Because obviously, like my goal is to influence people to be better and just, pursue the top of their greatness. Because not everyone's greatness is going to be the same level, but just being great is fulfilling your potential at the end of the day. And I think you spoke about this on a previous podcast about just, I think it was Gavin. He was talking
That's
about
right.
being great and just fulfilling that greatness within yourself is what makes you great and not more so the actual peak that you achieve. So,
Because because not everybody is going to be, you know, Jordan, Russ, you,
yep.
Taylor, whatever. Not everybody's going to. But if you're not going to strive, you're not going to be the greatest version of you could possibly be. The worst possible thing you could do is just not use all your advantages and push yourself to the limit and find out. And if you could be that guy, you could at least have that peace of mind knowing you saw it through and get as far as you can.
Mhm.
And whether or not you get as far as that, at least have the experiences that it's all going to bring you. Like the people you're going to meet, the places you're going to see, the competitions you're going to be in, but only through pursuing it. So when you were coming up, when you first got involved, and it was those four dudes in the mix of it, which first off of those four, which guy were you cheering for?
I would probably say Atwood because he was number one at the time. And it's always good to like chase, or he was the one chasing, I guess, new boundaries, I'd say. So they're all
Mm.
under him, and it's just cool to see someone achieve something that's never been done in, human history. So I was probably like, I guess, an Atwood fan to so to say, but I wasn't like really like a diehard powerlifter at the time. Like I barely knew anything yet. So that's just who I was, I guess, backing at the time. Yeah.
They were interesting because they of those four guys, you got something from all of them. First off,
Yep.
Atwood was the old king. He was like 10 years older than the oldest one of them. So he was like the wily veteran in his prime, the current king, but you knew he couldn't stay on top forever. Then you had Ricky Cho, who was for sure the villain. He would literally was nicknamed the villain. And
Yep.
he was before his time with the trash talking. I remember when him and C were going to battle at Junior Worlds. I remember Joe Stanek was at the 2019 World Championships, and this is when the Open and the Juniors were in the same World Championships.
Mhm.
And I was commentating, and dog, at this point in time, Masters, the World Championships was like 14 days long or 12 days long, something crazy. I did all of the Masters, then all of the Juniors, and then all of the Open right in a row, like 3 sessions a day for 12 days, no let up. And I mean, it was killer. So when people have a long weekend, I'm like, oh shit, man, I commentate all weekend. I'm exhausted. I mean, yeah, that's cute. That's cute, man. Do 12 days in a row and do 4 days straight of masters. And tell
Wow.
me what the master for women's 73-year-old grandmas are like representing Denmark. And you're like, and you got to be a professional. 3 hours, Playboy. All right, 3 hours. Do three of those for 4 days and then
Yeah.
get to the juniors where they're like 13-year-old kids, and you're like, ah, Okay. And you're like working through, try to stay up, call it like you see it, call it like an actual commentator, and then you get to the open. It was exhausting. But
Yeah.
anyways, I carved my teeth, put it that way. I paid my dues. But I remember Joe Stanek coming in and saying he was going to do a co-commentary for one of them. And I'm like, what session you want to do it for? He's like, oh, the 74 juniors for sure. And I'm like, what do we got here? And I wasn't looking super into the juniors because it's all clustered together. And he's like, Ricky Cho and Michael C are going to do battle, both the Americans. And I went online to look, and Ricky had posts where he's holding a bird and he was like, I value birds because they're animals of prey. And let me tell you something about an animal of, or no, a predator. And let me tell you something about a predator. They spot a prey and he like had it like a poetic. And I was like, what the? I'd never seen nothing like it before in my life. And he was talking about Michael C, his teammate that he's going to battle. And he tagged Michael C. And I was like, whoa. It was, and they battled. It was a good battle. And obviously they came in gold and silver. And then after that, same year was I did the podcast with Ricky Taylor Perk, whom I dubbed the future. And he kept that nickname like he doesn't have it now because now he's the king, right? But for the while there, he was all future, the possible. He was flashy, just like he is now. He was then. And each guy, and Michael C was the strong silent, very strong silent, was going to trash talk, but he was had tons of talent. And all four of those guys brought a little something to the table. And yeah, man, I mean, you could root for either which one depending on whatever flavor you like. But yeah, I remember the Four Kings, man. How about after that? How about after those four guys did battle, who stood out? Did you become a fan of somebody at some point?
Well, shortly after, so I'd say when Perk did his 800, that's when I guess it put faith in me that I can actually accomplish something similar and follow in his route, which I did. I was always like looking, oh, what did he total at this age? Oh, like, and then I achieved the 800 at 20. I saw he did it at 21. I was like, oh shit, like I'm right there.
Mm,
So he gives me hope, and he's kind of like paving a way for me. Not anymore since I didn't move up a class, but his numbers are still comparable to like the 83s, right? So even the 93s actually, like 850, what was it, 852 he just did on the SBD with the triple on squat. Like
right.
that doesn't
Yeah.
make much sense to me in my brain. Just like I can't even comprehend that. But even then, like he's, I guess, the path maker for me. And I think, like Rondell said, there's only four outliers, and I feel like I can become the fifth one in a couple years because based off I think it was the human crane, Enna, he did like that graph with the Q4, like the four standard deviations outwards. And I think it was like an 880 total you need for an 83, right? And based off my projections and my, I guess, how I'm progressing, it just feels like 880 will be almost inevitable at a certain point in my career at 83 because I don't plan on moving up after this. So I'd say Perk is the person I was rooting for after the whole dilemma with, Perk, Atwood, and Pug and all that. Simply because he's like the next up and he's the one that's up right now.
I think Russ can make it to it's 880? It was
I
880?
think
You
so.
would know because that's
It's
gonna be the goal.
880.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure you would know. Yeah, yeah. Fair
880.
enough. I'm questioning like, come on, Playboy. You don't think I know this? This is you don't think I went to bed that night with 880 sketched in my brain? So fair enough, fair enough. Do you think Russ, because Russ hit 860, do you think he could push it to 880 as an 83? Like obviously he can as a 93, but as an
Yeah.
83, do you think he can hit that, or what do you think?
Obviously not at Worlds. That wouldn't make sense. Maybe is it possible? His strength is there, yes, at Sheffield. Will he do it? It all depends on attempt selections. So that cut is just so brutal for him. Like he should be a 90 or 93, not an 83. So I'm gonna say yes because I want someone else to do it just so I can beat it first. So
It's yeah. Well, okay. There's a couple moving pieces here. First off, it's crazy that somebody who's been on top as long as Russ has might not be an outlier. Like he's an outlier, but an outlier to the
yeah.
crazy deviations that we're talking, which is wild if you think about it. because he's been the number 183 since 2019. Essentially,
Yeah.
you got in the game, started looking around, and there was Russ, and it's been Russ the entire time. In powerlifting, where we've seen so many people change and so many people change over, that's incredible. So Rondell also raised his hand on the last podcast. He goes, "Hey Playboy, remember when you said that about Russ? You forgot to mention me. He was in a hiatus, but he's right. He's been around. He bridges the gap, anyways, um, for sure from that era, and that's a previous era. But it's crazy that he's been around like that. Why do you think that is? Why do you think certain weight classes haven't seen the outlier emerge yet? Even though, like, for instance, 83 is, I think, a relatively populated weight class because there's so many people walking around that could fit into that weight class.
I think it's simply because of the talent pool in powerlifting. Like sooner or later, it's inevitable, right? There will be the outlier. So I think it just comes down to time and chance. So far, like we said, we've seen Perk as one of them. So the 75s, the 120 with Rondell, Jesus, that 120 plus, which is a crazy outlier because not many men are 120 plus. So to find one and like with Jesus is it's just mind blowing to me. Same with Rondell, he's a 120. So I'm not sure why the 83s haven't found one. I feel like that's like the most populated class, or it should be at least, because most men that work out are around that 180 to 190 range. But it is what it is. It's a matter of time, and I feel like I can do it. So we'll see.
I had people in my DMs, and I didn't think it was going to spark as much conversation as it did. That whole conversation about the outliers and whatnot. So the thing is, I actually believe this. Put it this way, and I get it. Like, obviously, all of these world champions are like the one percenters of the one percenters, and they're
Yeah.
obviously special talents. No question about that. But when we talk about an extreme outlier, we're talking, it's not debatable. It's a holy shit. He is so far ahead of the rest of the weight class that he's barking on the door of the next, that he's pushing boundaries like we've never seen before. And the thing is, Russ is so close to that, but because he's so far ahead of so many 83s, for so like he could win with a sizable gap. So you would say, wouldn't that be outlier? On the flip side, a fellow outlier a weight class below would not be like First Taylor, now Perk, wouldn't be that close. He would have to extend that gap on them.
Mhm.
It's same with like the 66s, phenomenal athletes, obviously, but they're so far behind the 74s. The gap isn't, they're not fulfilling what you would expect from an outlier who's going to jump in there and be like, okay, I'm breaking through. Or is it just so crazy competitive? Some people came into my DMs and said they think just certain weight classes are so crazy competitive. That's why it makes it look like, is it possible to have several outliers all at once converging in the same weight class?
Um, then would it be an outlier then at that point?
Yeah,
There's
yeah. I
by
mean,
definition, I think it can't be,
yeah, freaking. What if they're,
especially not the
ah,
66s. The
what if
66s are
there's,
so far behind the 74s.
yeah, right.
In the 93s, the 93s are they're all cluttered up around that high eight mark right now. And we have Perk in the mid eights, about to be up in the 860s, 870s soon enough. So
Yeah,
even those guys aren't outliers. So
you're right. The only thing that I would say in powerlifting we're seeing where it looks like some outliers are converging would be Leah Bavois, Carola Gara, and Agatha Shiko in the 69s, where it
yeah.
was people from multiple weight classes, like the perfect storm, just met up.
Mhm.
But they were deviations away from people in their respective weight classes, and then they decided, let's just clash this out and see what happens. I don't know. It's an interesting conversation. Dude, you should see the DMs are filthy. I got people pulling in like, powerlifting must have stats class, graduates who are like, excuse me, sir. And they're like, I can't debate all you guys at once. Rondell said this shit on the platform. I hope Rondell's taking as many DMs as I am. I got to take, and I took stats in university, but it's been a hot minute. I'm like, okay, everybody settle down. I don't know. I got to take a look at this. And some people I know that are like more powerlifting dudes that I'm used to talking to, but it has really sparked an interesting debate. And some people are saying how, because we saw what conceivably is two outliers emerged from the 74s in a short period of time, in Taylor and then Perk. And some people are saying, is there something to do with the makeup and frame of a 74-kilo lifter in terms of the bench press, in terms of the squat, and all of that, that will produce that outlier? But then in that case, when all of them, because they're all 74s, that still goes against the definition of outlier, no? Like, I don't know. I got so many people coming at me from so many different angles with this, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a tough
Another
one.
point on what's that? Sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Another point I was going to say, um, Russ has been on this reign of dominance that he has, and he's winning by a sizable margin. Do you think who's going to be the one to outseed him? Can you catch up to him before Perk does?
I have more room to gain, I'd say. So, um, I'll say yeah, I'll bet on myself. I'll say I'm the one to do it. I'd have to be, yeah. I can't give any other answer besides that.
I mean, that's the stock answer, my friend. That's the stock answer. You got
We'll
to
we'll see
bet
in a
on
couple
yourself.
weeks.
Here's the thing. Where's your body weight now?
I'm exactly 83 on the dot.
Okay. And do you plan on getting a little bit bigger and cutting down?
Oh, for sure. Like I was 79 and I cut to 75 within a week. So a 4 kilo cut
Mm.
is usually not the norm, but I can stretch it to a 4 kilo cut if I need. So 87 peak, 83 on the platform. I'll recomp back up. That's not gonna be an issue.
And obviously, those kilos, percentage of body weight wise, are going to be smaller when you move into 80, like full on
Yep,
87. Anyways, it'll get easier and easier.
exactly. Yeah.
What kind of total do you what's your next competition?
PA junior nats. So in 20 or not even, it's like 17 days out now.
Well, we're getting close.
Yeah.
And what are your ambitions with this? First off, when you came over from USAPL, what was the goal here? What enticed you to come over?
So the main goal was to just get into the IPF ecosystem. Winning a junior title isn't like of my highest concerns. Obviously, I'm not trying to like negate the actual title or put my competition down, but I have like a top 10 dots of all time. Like, so it's not like I the juniors are worrying me too much. But it's more so, like I said, get into the IPF ecosystem and hopefully, I'm not sure how the wild cards work at Sheffield, but I would put up a performance at Junior Worlds to, get Pete Spence's attention and hopefully earn that wild card. That's the main goal, at
And
least.
what do you think you need to post up to get SBD's attention?
Just whatever Russ does, just beats that.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean by
Well, I
then I don't
mean,
think it's much of an issue.
so what are we
I
talking?
honestly think I
Because
could beat it now. It,
look,
not
what
not the 860, not the 860,
oh, I
842 and
was
a half.
gonna say, my man. That was
842,
I
842.
okay. I was gonna say, dude, 860 right now. I mean, you gotta be so 842, yeah. Yeah, I mean that's right around the corner for you, for sure. That's
Yeah.
definitely conceivable.
Mhm.
That's definitely legit. Do you think is there anybody who's gonna push Russ to have to extend that world record, you think, at Worlds?
Besides Jurens, I don't see anything happening. I think Jurens going to be around on a good day 8:30 because when that PR is total, right? 8:30, I believe so.
He's done 823 at Euros, won Euros best lifter. He's done more in the gym, but you only put forth what you think you need to. He won best lifter with 823. So you never know with Jurens. He can be hot cold, man. It
Even
depends.
that
If he shows up,
Russ had a mid meet, so to say, in his words. Like so 860 on like a not so good day for him, he's not going to be worried about Jurens. I think he can win on an 8 for 8 day, leaving his third attempt like just scratching it. So yeah, I think the record will still be 842 after junior or after open worlds.
for sure, Russ is a heavy favorite. I wouldn't like I don't think anyone's gonna threaten to take him at Worlds, but it's all about extending that world record. If someone's going to
Yeah.
threaten to push him to have to extend that, and he doesn't want to have to. And then of course there's Shell, who's come back and is added like 25 kilos on Perks on the 74 kilo world record, which is eating into Perk and what Perk's going to have to do at Sheffield, which is like single handedly, man. I talked to Shell in DMs, and Shell is like, I do not expect to have to buy dinner at all when I'm in Lithuania. I think a lot of people owe me some dinners. I think I'm gonna have I'm not gonna buy a drink when I go to walk up to the bar. It should be ready for me. And Bob Matthews will be, thank you very much. And look to my left, and Russell's like, I got the next one, thank you. And it's he's gonna be treated like a king all week because whoever's going to Sheffield, man, Perk for sure. Perk's probably still the favorite. I would
Mhm.
assume you think so too as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting because if Shell can extend that world record one more time at Worlds, I don't know, man. It's getting more and more vulnerable. Let me ask you this. Rondell said he is the pound for pound king now in powerlifting, right now, currently. And he's got a hell of a point to make in terms of what he did to the 120s. Not only is there not a contemporary to his left and right with 1045, and that was kind of an off day for him in terms of what he was expecting. But historically speaking, there was nobody close. Where Perk has Atwood in a measuring stick previously. Rondell had said, my friend, I have nobody in my league at all in the 120s. Who's the king of powerlifting? Is it Rondell or is it Austin Perkins or is it someone entirely different like Jesus Oliveira or someone I'm not saying?
For this, or last year, it had to been Jesus, right? This year, I would have give. I would, let me think. Actually, I don't want to speak too soon.
It ain't
Um,
easy.
I love Rondell, but I have to give it a perk simply because his rate of progression has not slowed down. Rondell just did like I think what almost 1100 or something. He had 1,000 kg double, right? What was it in the gym?
Yeah, I think yes, it was 1,000 kg double.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what that equates to. Like that's so foreign to me because like those weights are just so massive. And for like Perk, he's like right there with me, like in terms of like body weight and the numbers lifted. So for me, I'd have to be biased just because I was a 75. And now I'm only an 83, so we're still neck and neck. So I have to give it a Perk. Also, Perk is going to be at Worlds, so he'll have the accolade of being a world champion, which I assume he wins. So that plus his performance at PA Nats, that 839. I don't see them going over that, by the way. So just keep that in mind. At Worlds, I see 830, 835 winning it. So the 839 performance, another presumably 830 plus at Worlds, world champion, world record total. I just have to give it a perk at that point.
It's damn shame what's going on with Rondell, but we'll see what we
Yeah.
can do with this. There's another thing I got. It's tons of people talking about the mock meat idea I threw out there, and all of a sudden everybody's like, "You guys got to see this through. That can't be something you just tossed out in a podcast." I'm like, "All right." I told Rondell like, "We got to do this now because a lot of people are coming in being like, yes, I will watch this." That's
Mhm.
something 100%. So we'll see. Maybe we even have a couple other people come up and do a mock meet as well, like on the same day. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to blow up, but we'll see how it all transpires. But um, yeah, here's the thing. Here's what's interesting about your timing. You're in a position where you have possibly the biggest star in the sport in Russ and one of the longest reigning champions and number ones. Like champions in that, like he won it and was number one after that. In terms of obviously Delaney came and took a title as well, but he was still champion in USAPL and he was ranked number one anyways. In the 83s in Russ. Undeniable. His resume, undeniable. And you have an opportunity if you can cover enough ground and find the proper venue you could, if you're the guy to finally beat Russ, because sooner or later he's got to lose. My God, what that would mean to you, your star power, your resume, your legacy. And then Burke, who might possibly be the king of powerlifting at the moment, depending on what Rondell does. could be moving up and you could be clashing with him.
Yeah.
And all of this in relatively short order. What that would do
Yeah.
for you, sir, what that would do for you, your star power, your resume, and experiences in the sport, and leaving your footprints in the game if you could cover that ground. I mean, are these things that you think about?
100%. Like me and my coach always talk about us going head to head with Russ, and the platform would be at Sheffield, but the chances of winning a wild card off a Junior World's performance, even if I extend the world record by 20 keys, let's say, I'm not sure with the new criteria that's going to be announced. I don't know if I'll even get the chance. So if let's say, for example, all the wild cards are taken, I'm just going to have a full out SBD day on that platform and boost that world record up for him because I don't want to just, leave kilos on the platform and save it for a competitor, right? So I'll bump it up. I don't care.
When is Junior Worlds?
Late August, early September-ish.
Hmm. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got some time.
I
You got
do.
some
Yep.
time to make a statement. And when is North Americans?
It's actually like 2 weeks prior. So the world
Okay.
record, yeah. So if someone breaks it then, I think you're talking about like Delaney doing it, which I don't think he will. But if he does do NAPF, breaks the world record, I'll just break that then. I don't whichever record is set, I'll just surpass that one.
Who is the biggest threat to Russell Orhii right now?
Well, besides Perk, probably me. I'll give myself that credit.
Well, you got to.
Yeah, I
You got
have
to.
to. I honestly think I can. The 842, I think I can do at this meet coming up. But I actually believed I had it at the Arnold at 75 if my back didn't explode. But that's a
Can
whole
you
different
imagine?
story. What was
Can
up?
you imagine? Can you imagine as a 75 doing that? As a 75 junior doing that is crazy.
I was on pace for it though. My SBD day directly correlated to the numbers I wanted. But on my very last pull, I think I did 341 on my SBD. And don't forget, like this is after 3 or 4 sets of squats, 6 sets of bench. So I'm gassed at this pull. And my deadlift usually tapers 10 to 15 kilos simply by not doing squat back downs and bench back downs on meet day. But after that pull, my back just it's I didn't think it snapped, but it resulted in a lot of sciatica down the legs to the point where I couldn't even pull 250 a week out of the meet. So I wasn't deadlifting at all prior to the Arnold, just for my taper week. So I was like, all right, we'll see what happens. I hit the top end for the squat, top end for the bench on meet day. And then when it came to deadlift, I hit my second attempt of 332, which would have set me up for 352, and that would have been an 840 total. But my back was just it was done at the time. So I tried to just shoot for 341, the world record you can call it. I'm not really considering that a world record because it's Arnold and I was 75 and whatever. But I think if my back was healthy at the time, I would have been able to do the 840. But it is what it is. My back's feeling good now. It just started feeling good a couple weeks back. So I have like a good one solid block of training leading up into this meet coming up. So
Why did you cross over? Like, was it all the other guys crossing over? Was it the fact that like world titles, Sheffield was a big beacon for a lot of people? Is it Perk? Is it Russ in particular? Is it one of these clashes? Is it what was some of the thought in terms of your crossing over?
just I guess greatness at that simple because no one's gonna remember like a US title, right? Like for example, if I go to my grandma and say I'm a US champion, she'd be like, okay, versus I'm a junior world champion, even though I consider a USAPL national title more prestigious to the average person. If you see the word world champion behind anything, it can be junior, it can be sub junior, it can be masters, it doesn't matter. World champion's a world champion. That's a universal language at that point. Like you
Mhm.
compete against everyone throughout the world. And also, like you said, competitors, Russ and Perk, they switched over. So I guess a combination between competition plus the prestige of winning a world title and the money
How about
meets like Sheffield like that. Sheffield's
yeah?
a big motivator as well. Yeah.
I was just about to say, and like honestly, for sure, there's a lot of cash being thrown out historically speaking, just by we've never seen money like this getting
Yeah.
handed out in one day. It's incredible. But even the event itself is like nothing we've ever seen. To be a part of it, it feels like you're being a part of powerlifting history. And to
Mhm.
be on that platform, like everybody remembers, everybody watches Sheffield. And if you were at Sheffield battling Perk or battling Russ in a head to head, holy smokes, man. I
Yeah,
mean, that's like kid. Yeah, I mean, it's the wildest. You obviously watched the first two Sheffields.
100%. Watched them both. Yep.
And how far back did you know you were coming over to the IPF? Did you just have some, you thought, look at, let me try to get some unfinished business over here in the USAPL or
I'd say after Open Nats, so 20 like last year's Open Nats, yeah. I was actually going to do PA Open against Russ, but I was like, I just can't cover enough ground because I projected him at 870, 880, and that's just when I totaled 800. I was like, there's just like no way I can add 70, 80 kilos on my total in only like 6 months. So, and then plus everyone left USAPL like Perk and who else? Ashton and Bob. And then there's the Pro Series, right? So I was like, well, everyone's leaving. I don't think I can make up enough ground just to beat Russ, just yet. So might as well, secure this $20,000 and not come in second
that's fair.
and come with nothing because I know that's what Angelo and Perez did. They went over to try to, I guess, take a jab at Russ because there's a lot of things with Russ, like his cut and all that, and wondering if he can make it down there healthy. But in my mind, I'm like, Russ has proven it over and over again, so I'm not going to put him out now. And plus, like I said, $20,000, I'm just not going to leave down the table just so I can come in second place and go back home. So might as well win the 20K, secure that, and then do the junior route to try to secure the Sheffield wild card. So I planned this out all the way back from last Nats.
It is good also to get a little bit of international experience with the judging. And
Yes.
I mean,
Yep.
that's a whole nother deal. Go through all the traveling and whatnot and just whatever. It's like a fighter on the way up in the ranks, just gaining experience before you get the big title shot. It all helps. Experience, some people you can make big jumps and it doesn't matter. But there's nothing like a little bit of experience to calm yourself for when the big day comes, you're calm, cool, collected, and everything unfolds the way it's supposed to. And I can't knock anyone for saying, I'm gonna come over and throw a jab at Russ and see what happens if maybe you hit pay dirt. Russ was rusty. And he said, he's like, man, I felt rusty out there. It was kind of weird, that, like a year off. He's like, wow, I hit the platform and he's like, I feel kind of nervous. Like you tell yourself it's just a max out day. And you can tell yourself that until you hit the platform, like this is not just a normal max out day. There are eyeballs all over the world watching and it's anticipation of it. So even Russ was like, I did not feel 100%. Didn't need, like, he's obviously hit all of his lifts, 860. We've never seen an 83 kilo do that before. So even Russ operating around 90%, but and eventually he's got to have an off day.
Yeah.
Eventually, and historically speaking, if he had an off day, he's still 20 kilos ahead of everybody else.
Mhm.
By the time you meet Russ, is that going to be the case? Or can you cover the gap where it's like, my friend, you have an off day, you lose?
I think he has to have an on day to beat me by then. By next year, same time frame, like right now, that's if he does open Nats. So let's say I don't get the invite to Sheffy and I have to do open Nats. I hope he comes because if not, that total will be like broken, whatever he puts up. But I think he'll have to be on his A game just so. And I also have to be on my A game for sure. I'm not saying like I can just walk in and beat Russ on a 8 for 9, 7 for 9 day now. But in a year from now, I think I'll be able to be head to head with him so that we both have to be on our A games. Yeah.
Is it a mistake if he goes to Sheffield, posts up a total, and wants to sit on that total and just see what you do at nationals afterwards?
100%. That's a lot easier for me. I can just shoot for a number now, just like what Petrie did to Keiko. So it's gonna be a lot if he does that, which I hope he doesn't, because I still want that head to head. But if he does, that'll be a huge mistake. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what he does. It'll be a huge kudos and respect to you if you can lure him back to PA Nats because he's like, I need to show up if I want my world selection. I mean, that's a tip of the hat respect for you. I mean, there's other factors. If he's a little banged up from Sheffield and he's like, look at, I mean, with all due respect, I definitely respect Joe, but I can't, my total's going to go down, not up if I come back that kind of turnaround. That happens as well. But you see guys like Gavin, he missed weight, but he's still strength wise did 895 within a month of Sheffield. Some
Yeah.
people can turn it around. You see guys like Penna, whom compete like it was crazy the schedule some of these French have. It's like every month, Penna
Hmm.
and Penna like hit big numbers, top end numbers for himself very consistently. Why do you think that is, by the way? Is it
Well,
just so you go
okay.
ahead?
All right. So for Penna, I think he trains like he does singles almost like year round, heavy singles, heavy SBDs. So, a training day for him is basically a meet day. So I think that's why he can just continuously compete and compete. And then for Gavin, I'd say he didn't really go all out at Sheffield. Like his deadlift, he left kilos on the tank. His bench that got overturned, like he got kilos left in the tank. Squat, even though it was high, it didn't look like all out grind. So for him, I can see why he was able to PR the total with such a quick turnaround. But for all the Frenchmen and French women out there, like they're doing SBD days like year round type of thing. So I think that's why they're so like that's why they can just handle that frequent competitive schedule so often. Versus in America, we see 2 to 3 meets from the big lifters, and that's it.
I've been told on the podcast, I mean, Eric Helms is on the podcast saying he thinks it's almost like a cultural thing in terms of how they train, but they all have different coaches. But you see a lot of grinders coming out of France. You
Yeah.
see extreme low bar coming out of France. There is, to an extent, some cultural style training, lifting. There's a lot of it. Is this us stereotyping and it's not as prominent and common as we think? Or do you think, no, the French low bar is legit? It's starting to get changed now due to the rule change. But was that really a French thing? Is the grinding and all the rest of it, like the heavy lifts routinely, is that a French thing? Or is it one of those things, you see on social media sometimes, if enough people say it's true, when in reality, it's all just highlights. It's all just highlights, and you could glean whatever you want and make whatever narrative you want based off highlights. I could make, I have made narratives off highlights. It's what King of Lifts does, right? To build whatever narrative up we need to. Which one is it here? What are we looking at?
Think it's a combination of both. I think it originated in France, like the low bar and all that, and the ultra grinds. And since Penn is such a public figure there, and just a public figure throughout all of powerlifting, like all we see is him, and then all we see is people around him grinding. But in America, there's probably people out there, squatting with a mega low bar and that can grind for days, but they're just not simply strong enough, right? So I
Mm.
think that's also a part of the reason. And then your page that just blows up all these lifters, like that's also helping. Like you're doing a big thing for the community out
Yeah.
here, and you feed into it as well a little bit, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I will.
It's not a
Yeah,
bad
I will.
thing. So you're helping publicize the low bar and the French team and all that. So I think it's a combination. Like it originated there. It's still prevalent in the US, but they're just so much more star power in France, which allows us to just keep looking at them and then stereotyping them versus looking at our lifters here that aren't really as strong. Because all our big guys right now aren't squatting or grinding like that. So I think it is somewhat stereotypical, but there's validity to that stereotype. Yes.
Is it you're right in that the amount or even ratio of the grinders to not grinders might be the exact same America and France. It just happenstance that the stars are grinding right now in France. But that might not be the case in 5 years. It could
Yep.
just be someone who's super popular and is just dominating social media. And like Penna is multiple time world champion and a great speaker. Love it when he comes on the podcast. He'll put his chest out. I'm going to win Sheffield. He'll put his chest out. I'm going to win worlds. And like he drops the sound bites and the whole nine. So it can influence. Those kind of things can influence.
Yeah.
Whereas if it wasn't Penna, if Penna was as clean as a daisy with all of his lifts, I mean, yeah, I mean, it would stop the way people look at it.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. I've had this discussion as well about people think it's part of like a couple guys like Pena will influence how people train. Not a couple guys, just you get a few people start influencing how people train over there. And then all of a sudden it gives rise to more of them. And it actually is a numbers game over there that people are actually training like this. Like, no, you hit it hard and you go heavy singles conceivably weekly. I don't know. I don't know if that's just what it looks like though, due to social media, or if that's legit. But it's crazy what they're producing. What nation has
Yeah.
risen like France so quickly?
Mhm. They are a small nation in comparison to numbers wise with the US. So just having any type of world champion there is it's insane to see. But it's cool to see that the US isn't reigning. Actually, can't say that because we might sweep US or the US might sweep worlds, but it's cool to see that there's so many competitive nations out there. Whereas in the recent years, it was more so like US centric, where like if you made it out of worlds, like you basically or you made it out of your nationals, you basically won worlds. But now that's not the case. You see that, Great Britain rising up, Italy rising up, France, they're already there. So it's kind of cool to see all the other nations just, coming up to the top and battling out with the US, even though I still think US is still going to sweep. So
Do
hot
you?
take. I don't think
I
that's a
was
hot
gonna
take though.
ask you.
I don't think that's a hot
It,
take, is it?
well, hmm, it's conceivable. It's not a hot take in that like is it the odds on favorite that they sweep? Odds on favorite to win for sure. Got to be. No question.
Yeah.
Is it if we have Vegas odds? Do you think the Vegas odds are US sweeps?
I don't think so because of the 66s and because of the 93s. Those two classes alone are like what's stopping us from inevitably getting the sweep. But I think like the 105s, I think Ash has it on lock, Bob has it on lock, obviously Jesus, Waskar, Russ, Perk. Those are all I think 100% locks unless
Yeah.
God God forbid they get injured, right? But the 66s with Ryan and then Petrie, they're gonna have the biggest fights, I think. And you can't really count out Penna. Obviously, he's a world champion back to back, or not back to back. He had the gap year.
Yeah.
And then you have Gustav, right? So you're the Sheffield champion. You can't count them both out. But I think Petrie should be the favorite going in. He has the most potential. He moved up from 90 and totaled 895. And he's totaled over 900 in the past, right? Like 93.6 or a hair
I
over
don't think
93.
so. I don't think so. Let me pull this up. Hang on a sec.
I think he did.
Wait,
Or was it like 97 or something really close to 9 or above 9, I think.
I'll pull it up right now. Let's make sure we're so 89.5 is actually his biggest. He hasn't done over 900 yet.
Okay. I thought he did at
And
the
that's goose.
92.6 meet.
I got it open on open powerlifting. No, it's definitely 895.
All right then.
And that's also Gustav's
Yeah.
highest from Sheffield. And you probably saw what Emil Krastev from Bulgaria did, eight
Mhm.
or 906 in training on like an SBD day. He weighed himself in and all clean lifts as well. Um, I mean, that's gym. That's not the platform for sure. I don't know, man. Like to your point, yeah, the 93s. I don't know if I would say Petrie is the favorite because like if it's Vegas, well, let me think here. If you're picking a favorite, think you got to go with who's proven themselves at like the top end, right? Like
Yeah. Right.
you might say he's a live underdog and be like, I'm going to pick he's your pick, but would he be the favorite in that the consensus of the community will be? And I'm going to post these polls obviously from King of Lifts, so we'll see. The community's watching when leading into Worlds. I am going to find out which way the world is leaning. It'd be really interesting if Gustav wasn't the favorite. Wouldn't that say a lot if you won Sheffield and they both have 895 and Gustav did it at Sheffield? If Petrie is still the favorite over him, oh my gosh. Like that'd be crazy. That would say a lot towards the potential people feel coming out of Petrie. And off the rondell, I was like, man, we're gonna find out if Petrie can live up to all this hype. And if Petrie does a selfie, a post saying, trying to prove that I'm more than all hype. I'm like, God bless. He did like we talk at DMs, but it is. I wonder about when you're coming out the gates with all that kind of hype, what that does to a lifter. He was joking around with it, but I mean, even yourself. look, you're doing the Kingless podcast right now.
Yeah.
A a lot of Europeans and Asians, people. All this is not just American centric. We get a lot of Americans listening, obviously, but
Yeah.
this is a lot of people, Europeans, want to listen and throw it up in their throw it up in their mentions and stuff. The
Yeah.
hype will start coming, and what does that do? What does that do to you? Have you felt, maybe you feel like you haven't felt enough of it yet to know, or more will come after what you do at Junior Worlds, but or maybe you do feel it a little bit. What do you think?
I think if anything, it just rises performance levels. It makes you lock in more. It makes you get those 8 hours of sleep. It makes you count your calories. It makes me get my 10,000 steps, my mobility routine. It makes me do all of that, right? Because I have all this, I want to call it pressure, but I guess we can call it pressure, right? Because pressure makes diamonds, and I'm trying to be that diamond in the rough, right?
Right.
So I think I think it does help in a sense. And if you get too caught up into it, and good thing I don't have like any haters, so to say. Like I don't get much like shit talk on Instagram or anything. It's mostly supportive. I don't really stir the pot either. I'm very nonchalant, and I stick to myself on social media, right? So I'm not much of a problem maker. I don't talk shit. I don't really stir the pot like I said. So as long as I don't let the pressure get to me, which I don't think there's much of, it's mostly going to be a motivational booster, and it's just going to help me in the long run. Yeah.
Well, here's a couple things. And first off, even just being confident in yourself, competitors will take that like, okay, all right. Like I'm telling you right now, there are guys like Penna will come on here and he'll say, because he's ferocious on the platform, he's ferocious in his training. He will make an enemy out of somebody who's coming up. And if you say you're going to be number one and he's the champ, he'll be like, got you. You're in my cross sights now. And when I see you in the warm up room, I'm mad dogging you. And when we pass by in the mall in Lithuania, because we're both looking for, recomp, I ain't your friend, man. Don't come up and talk to me. And like, they'll be like, but he'll be like professional about it because it's Penna, for God's
Yeah.
sake. But on the flip side, he needs that. He wants that. It makes him. That's why he grinds. He plays those mental games with himself. That's why he is who he's passionate. And there'll be people who are, and there'll be other people who straight up take it personal, even though you're just talking about yourself, bumping yourself up. Shit like that happens. When you get up there, you're gonna notice just by being like that, people like, man, fuck this guy. And here's another thing that I've no don't take, and my advice to you, don't take no offense. Keep being yourself. You're fine. But things will happen out of nowhere. Here's another thing that'll happen as well. You were extremely talented and you're destined to do something big. I'm telling you right now. Okay. Mark timestamp this. You
All
haven't gone to
right.
Junior Worlds yet. You haven't done any of these things yet. You're gonna do something big. All right. If you do something big and hang around long enough, ask Taylor Atwood, ask Russel Orhii, ask whoever's hung around, got big enough and hung around long enough. People will start coming at you no matter what. People will
Yeah.
cart, people will pick apart what you say. And you don't even need to say too much, but the thing is you'll be on podcasts more frequently and people will be looking at you more frequently, so they'll find it. They'll find it. You'll say something and they'll be like, God, this guy's he's so cringe. You hear what he said about it could be whatever. You could say, like, man, I'm trying to manifest a big. You hear this guy talking about manifesting again? Like, really? Manifesting is something you're getting mad at? Like, they'll find something, dog. You know what I mean? In my advice, don't let it roll off your back. It is what it is. But everybody in every sport and every movies, music, whatever, you get big enough, all the things you said are true. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. But for you to get a hater, just it's gonna come if you win a world title or whatever happens, or you beat somebody's favorite lifter or go against them. They're gonna have people coming at you, and it's not a bad thing in sports. Well, first off, it means like, okay, I'm getting big enough to have haters and people coming at me for whatever the shit. That's all right. But in sports, we love to have our favorites and we love to hate somebody for no reason. How often
Mhm.
you hear people talk about like, I hate this guy, I hate that guy. Man, really? You hate these people? You pick apart what they said or whatever, man. It's wild. So we'll see how it all transpires. But this is all part of it as well.
Yeah.
about you rising up. And when people talk about how will you adapt when you get there, those are pieces that people don't necessarily bring into the fold and understand. Like they think we're talking about how are you going to feel when you're on CBS, Eurosport, Sheffield, World Stream is like 5 times bigger than the USAPL stream. Like, how are you going to feel with all of that? Yes, yes, but also how are you going to feel when there are a kabillion opinions on you all of a sudden, and you thought, "Oh, I'll just be myself, I'll be all right." You're going to get memed,
Yeah.
even if you do nothing wrong. This is how it gets weird. This is where you start being shit. Maybe I didn't think about that.
Getting memed is a goal, not gonna lie. I would
Ah,
love to get memed. That's how you know you made it, I think, right?
it's true. You have to have that attitude. You really do. You have to have you got to look at it like that. I've talked to people in DMs where some people, it'll also, if you get too big, there'll be a subculture where it's cool to take shots at you because you're too big now. That's
I mean,
true.
I've seen it with Russ. I've seen it with Russ, right? You've seen all the
And
memes.
not right. It not only Rust, but you see that with whether it's music, if a band or whatever artist gets too big or whatever. Too many people like you, so there's be a subculture of people who got to not like what's too popular, right? That happens all the time in every single whatever culture or community, whatever. You get too big, it's going to happen, man. It is what it is. You just roll with it. But these are things that like this is when people talk about how people are going to handle everything. This is all part of it. Because when you come back year 2, year 3, year 4, like Russ and Taylor have, they've experienced all of the above, you
Yeah, yeah.
know? And people will celebrate if you finally lose. They're like, oh, fuck yeah. What's up, man? I've been waiting on this. It's wild, man. It's wild. You're at the total other side of this journey, though. You probably
Yeah, I
aren't
just started.
even, yeah.
I bet no one's gonna listen to this, or not many listeners are gonna be on here, right? Because no one knows, nobody knows my name just yet, I'd say, because I am only lifting in the USAPL. Even though I am switching over to PA, like I'm still like I guess a nobody, like less than 20K on Instagram. Most of them are from, the US. So I do anticipate a lot of followers coming just from my, junior world's performance though. But hopefully people listen to this. That'd be cool. Like I want to get my
Well,
exposure out there. I want to tell everyone my goals and hopefully get some support. But regardless, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, even if I have that support or not.
it's going to happen. It's inevitable. And that's not the no pun because Ade from Britain actually. Are you aware of him? His nickname is inevitable, and he locked out his last deadlift. Got down up. He would have had 840. I mean, the 83s are starting to blow up right now.
Yeah.
There's a cluster of you guys
Mhm.
whom are especially Britain. Germans, obviously, who was best lifter at Euros, but Ade, who did inevitable, who did, he down up but locked out for 840. Delaney is around. Perk might be moving up. Like the 83s in the next couple of years are going to be, it's going to be crazy. And then
Mhm.
yourself emerging. Somebody's got to emerge out of this bottleneck of talent that's starting to come over. And have you seen what's going on in Britain? They have
Yeah.
stars. Joey Shaw, Messiah. There's a lot of guys who are their social medias are blowing up. They know they're
Yeah.
doing it right over there. Have you seen some of that going on?
Yeah. I know Joey. He's going 93. He just announced moving up. I know that. But they're more so like influencers, so to say. Whereas like I just post my content and I'm like, all right, if you like it, follow. If you don't, I don't care. Like I just want to post my lifts, call it a day, and continue on with my coaching business. I'm not really focused on like influencing other people. Like it is cool that I can influence people by showing them what's possible and what's not, but I'm not out here trying to make like a cool edit and be like, all right, look at this fire edit with a Drake song behind it. Like, I really don't care. It's not that deep to me. But yeah, I just want to show people what's possible and just continue growing my brand in the coaching realm at least, because I don't want to be known as an influencer. That's not my goal.
What if it yeah, I guess it I do like some of the edits are fire. Let me tell you.
Okay,
And
yeah,
Drake
you're right.
it's some of these edits are fire, man. Let's be honest. Um, and it does help. to popularize a sport in those nations. I think, like in terms of bringing people in, like how many people came in through watching like Russ or someone like that, and they're like, "Oh wow, what the hell is this? This looks cool." And like when they do the 83 kilo versus 93 kilo squat battle, and the shows first, it shows them shirtless, flexing, and then it's like, let's see what happens. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'll see that and I'm like, I need to see who wins this fucking squat battle. It's gonna take me 30 seconds. Let me just see what happens. It actually works. I was like, damn it, he got me. Because I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I got 30 seconds. Who wins? Who wins? Oh, the little guy won. And if someone like the smaller dude out squats the bigger guy, I'm like, all right, swipe, keep it moving, keep it scrolling there. But yeah, I don't know. They're doing it right over there, and they're starting to blow up in that nation too. I'm wondering. Some people are saying like Britain's the next one that's gonna pop
Yeah,
due to there's an
100%.
influx of people. You think so? Have you been
I
seeing
think
that
so,
as
yeah.
well?
Them and I think Italy, both of them combined, those two are like the, I guess, up and coming nations. Like you said, we got Joey, we got forgot his name, the 105. Uh,
Yeah,
so I think them two, and then with Italy, who's the 83 that won Junior Worlds?
Edo,
Edo, is he from Italy?
Eduardo. Yeah,
Yeah.
Eduardo's from Italy. He did
So
800 a while ago, and like he's poised to do more than that now. You
yeah,
know what was pointed out to me? Due to his total dipping at a qualifying event, he might not even be in prime time, which
that's
is nuts.
yeah. Uh, I think even like he might not podium regardless of being in prime time or not, but not having a sub 800 total and not making it is just that just shows you where we're at in powerlifting at the moment. So it's kind of
He
crazy
could
to
do
think that.
800.
Oh,
Listen,
100%. Yeah.
yeah, like, what do you expect from the 83s at Worlds? It has to be 800 and up for the podium for sure, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think Enna, Jurins, they're both going 800 plus. Um, Nick didn't make it, right? He got injured
Nick
at that.
didn't. Caffrey is going, and he's gone to several worlds. He's already totaled 800 like last summer at North Americans.
Yeah.
So Caffrey's like an 800 total or an up as well from Canada. So I mean, I honestly I think top five will be 800 now.
Yeah. I think so too. If I were to predict, Jurins second, and then Enna third, Caffey fourth. So if Enna does end up, pulling 400 kilos or something crazy for the win, that'll be insane to watch. I'll be on the front of my seat watching that because I feel like he's gonna shoot for first regardless, unless Russ is like so far out of reach. But yeah, it's always fun to watch them, battle it out, especially him and Jurns. Those two
So
are like a real fun to see.
this is where I wonder what's going to happen because Enna recently posted and said, how much fun it is to just shoot for number one, shoot for the stars and go. And he's got that bullet, that gun is cocked and he's coming out firing.
Yeah, yeah.
But will he have that same energy when Russ is there? And this is where let me paint this picture for you, sir. And I don't know if this is going to happen, but let's get wild here. Let's let her hair down. Russ was not pacing for 860 throughout squat, bench, and his final day. And he's going to finish before Anna finishes. Anna is going to deadlift last, obviously. So what if Russ paces too low and Anna said, man, fuck it, load it up. And if it was 860, for sure, Anna backs off. And Anna's pulling for silver, and he's like, well, whoever it is, Germans, whoever it is, I got you. Not today. But Russ isn't going 860. Russ wants to pace for Sheffield. This is where, oh my God, if Anna's like, okay, you pace yourself for 840 something. And what if Enna can cover that gap and he loads? And that is going to be the craziest pull.
Yeah.
What's the chances?
If it's below, I think Russ would have to be below that 835 mark for that to happen. But then you got to take into account the world game spot, right? Top three. So
Mm.
What if Enna's so far behind and he just wants to shoot for third? He's gonna have the last say. So I think the possibility of him shooting for first would be so low, and I think Russ would have to miss multiple lifts and pace slow on top of that just to not be in like a clear cut runaway first place. But I think most likely he will pull for probably third just because of the World Games spot. That actually just crossed my mind, the World Games thing. I totally forgot about that. But if let's say he's 20 kilos behind Jurens and he needs 830, 835, I don't even see him pulling that because why give up that World Game spot? And there's not much of a difference between third and second place in the grand scheme of things, right? Like it's either you're the first loser or second loser, right? So you know what I mean? Like first place is all
Yeah.
that really matters. And if you can't get that, just secure the World Game spot, which I see him doing. So
And that'll be interesting. I don't know. It depends on his attitude. The guy is, I mean, he is exciting as hell. And he
yeah.
he is all over the place with that last dead. At Euros in December, he beat Jurens with that last dead. And then he freaking kicked himself off the ground. He was laying flat on the ground. When I reposted that, I swear to God, half the comments were how he pushed 1 foot into the earth and shot himself off of a laying down position into a standing position.
Yeah.
And people are like, what kind of a freakish human is this? That he deadlifts like damn near 400 kilos and then pushes himself off the ground. Like, how does he get up out of bed in the morning? Who is this guy? What is going on right now? He was laying flat on his back, put 1 foot on the ground, and he was standing a second later. And it's like, what the hell? But
Wait, didn't
anyways,
he failed his second deadlift too, right? The second attempt.
I think he did.
He failed it, came back, hit it. So he probably has
All
some
in, baby.
crazy adrenaline in his head. So
All in, baby. And a lot of people said he shouldn't have showed up for the Euros that took place in March against Jurens again for the rematch and just let it go. Take your win and let it go because he outlifted Jurens at Worlds, outlifted Jurens at Euros to cap off 2023, came back. Jurens got his revenge at this Euros in March and got best like European lifter. And
yeah.
now people are talking like yourself, even, you know, they're picking Jurens over Anna, which like last Worlds Enna had beat him, and I don't know. In last Worlds Enna did. Let me pull this up before I speak out of school here.
Well, Jurgens didn't have a good meet either because I know Nick beat him too, right?
Nick beat him as well. So Enna
Yeah.
last Worlds did 812 and a half. In a year, how many kilos can Enna put onto his total?
If his bench comes up and his squat, his deadlift's not the issue. Like his deadlift's always going to
Okay.
be there. It's always hit or miss with him there. So deadlift and squat or squat and bench, 10 kilos each, hopefully 20. Yeah, 20 would be a nice round number for him to hit. So 830, 2.5 right there. Yeah.
We're getting close.
You know?
We're close enough that this guy, if Russ thinks he's going to cruise over the world record without upping it, and Enna's cruising to something like that, that's where you see Enna being like, yo, that's where Enna starts getting crazy thoughts, man. That's where he turns into the Enna monster. And he's like loaded up. He'll be looking at he'll be looking at Team Hungry national coach and be like, you know what you're gonna put on that. You know what you're doing right now. He'll be like, Enna, please think about World Games. Think about you know what you're but you know what we're here for. It's so difficult for me to picture Enna not loading, but I don't know.
Do they get an incentive for making world games or no?
I'm not sure. Depends on. I know if you're an SBD athlete and you're at the World Championships, you get bonuses for medals and all types of stuff. Like they have a whole lot of incentives for your performance at Worlds. Um, yeah, like they take care of you, SBD. It's so I can only imagine. He's not an SBD athlete. I don't know what other companies do, etc. But there's a lot of people going to the World Championships. I know people don't think about the World Championships as a money meet, but I remember one year I did a podcast about it a couple of years ago. Don't quote me on this, but it was close to like $100,000 SPD was given out over the course of the SPD. That's one
Yeah.
company was given out over the course of the World Championships. Either that's what they gave out, or that was on the line, or whatever. I forget now, but I had the money, I had the line up there, and we crunched the numbers, but it was a significant amount of money, and that's one company.
Yeah.
And there are people from all over the world, like IPF Worlds. There's money flowing around for a lot of people, as well as the government. Some of these European governments will give you incentives as well if you medal,
Mhm.
and when you come back. So I don't know. There's a lot of incentivization. And to your point, World Games, what does that look like? Probably even more money floating around. It's a good question. Let me ask you. So Jonathan Garcia versus Pena. You saw Jonathan Garcia broke the world record unofficially at American Nationals, 17.175. And Pena won worlds with 705, but he's posted up some monster gin lifts. But a lot of people will say, well, he always posts up monster gym lifts. He doesn't bring it onto the platform. Fair. His gym total has not equaled his platform total, but he's also a two-time world champion and beat Kyoto head to head at Sheffield. So he's a big game hunter. Who wins that at Worlds?
I'm gonna go with my American and say Garcia. I think he has to fulfill the prophecy of his son being born on that day and
Oh,
everything,
nice.
right? So I think it's meant to be. Like, plus he has the higher top end, I'd say. He doesn't cut as much. Bigger squat, bigger bench. Deadlift is the weak spot, but at Nats, like he made each attempt look faster and faster as it went on. So I think if you can just get around that 270, 280 deadlift range if need, I think it's an automatic wrap.
I mean, it's going to be one hell of a battle. The
Yeah.
66s is it's so crazy what the 66s has turned into. If you asked me 4 years ago, I'd be like, what? Like one of the hottest divisions.
Mhm.
It's crazy. Do you think Wasker can popularize the 59s?
By himself, no, because you need competition. If Fedochenko comes back, I say yes. If he doesn't, no. But that's not saying Waskar is like a bad athlete because he's by far, I think he's the best 59 ever. But
Oh, really?
currently, ever,
Yeah, okay,
ever,
yeah, yeah.
ever, I can't say ever because of what Fedo did, but you know what happened to Fedo and why he's not there. So that kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So even if he was there, I would have to pick Waskar. But yeah, unless he doesn't, if he comes back, I think he can popularize it. If he doesn't come back, we're gonna have to see someone rise up, and I don't see anyone close to Waskar at the current moment.
Let me pull up Ivan from Spain. I thought let me take a look here. Ivan
He had like that
Campano.
6 plus D day, right?
I think he did. But we need Ivan to bring this on the platform. He's a junior world champ, European Open champ, and he's got a yes, okay. So he did 630.5 in the gym in an SBD day.
Oh wow.
So, but he's got to bring it on the platform, my dude. Every now and then he showed glimpses. He needs to bring that onto the platform. 630.5, that can actually rival Wasker. And Spain is actually another nation that's getting very, like, powerlifting is getting popular in Spain as well and starting to rise. But they need either world champions or people the country can believe is contending for a world title and is in the mix and is on all the podcasts or being talked about on all the podcasts. And Wasker needs this guy. I
Yeah.
believe I agree with you. Look at Wasker, amazing on a podcast. He's funny, charismatic, good-looking guy, super strong. He brings all those chips to the middle of the table. It's what you need to blow up on social media, on podcasts, and he carries himself with a swagger on the platform when he throws his hands up and smiles like he can do it. But it's a bit of a one-man show. Right now it's working. It's working very heavily in his favor because A, his quest to popularize the division has become a narrative. B, his quest to hit Sheffield has become a narrative. So he actually has numbers he's chasing. When he hit it at PA Nats, he missed it at Worlds and missed a chance for Sheffield. When he hit that qualifying total at PA Nats and got emotional. Even though that didn't get him to Sheffield, he knew then I slayed that demon and it's I'm not just talking now. I can do
Yeah.
this. It's this dream is a reality. And he got emotional with his family on the side. It became a storyline, but it's not going to last forever. He will eventually need an opponent. And what else has helped him is although Fedoshenko is not currently here due to the war in Ukraine and Russian athletes not for the time being able to compete, they've actually gone back and forth. And I mean back and forth like rivals go back and forth. Like those fellas, did you see what they were saying to each other?
I did not see it. No, no, no. You inform me. Tell me.
All right, dude, here's some juice for you. So if you look at Fedoshenko's open powerlifting right now, he's been competing for 22 years. And for 22 years straight, 22 years, that's longer than you've been alive, young man.
Yeah.
He's never once got a two on the results next to his name.
Yeah. Wow.
And you just scroll and scroll and scroll 22 years back. All the national titles in Russia, the world, which it's Russia, the world titles, in equipped, out of equipped, it's incredible. And Wasker came on the podcast and said, I'm going to be the first guy to hand Fedoshenko his first two on his record. When we meet, it's going to be me. And I made, I blew it up on King of Lifts with like a poster with the open powerlifting in the background and Wasker and the quote in the foreground and all the number ones in the background of on open powerlifting. And I'm tagging people are reposting. And then Benishenko, a podcaster, Dmitry in Russia, whom I met at Sheffield, and he does a lot of good work translating English podcasts to Russians and giving highlights of the podcast and having Russian athletes on translating what we've said and saying, what are your thoughts on this? And he had Fedoshenko and officially got a statement out of Fedoshenko saying, like, what do you think about everything that Wasker's been saying? And Fedoshenko clapped back saying, you know what? Yeah, he's good. He might beat me, but not yet. Because Fedoshenko's 42. He's like, maybe in 10 years when I'm 52. And then he said, and I hope when we meet at Worlds, he doesn't disappear from the world scene like everyone else who said they were going to beat me. Because
Wow.
Fedoshenko, yeah, man. I mean, he with his chest out, right? Because Fedoshenko, you got to understand for him, how 20 over the course of 22 years, how many guys have come saying I'm going to beat you, and then he beats them, and they fizzle out and they move on with their lives. Like, how many cycles of of lifters he's probably seen where he's like, that's cute. Stick around. Hopefully, you stick around after I beat you, and you don't lose interest, and you don't lose motivation, and you can keep showing up, coming in two, and hopefully you don't disappear. That's a
Yeah.
pretty gangster thing to say. And I was like, oh shit. So then I took that, took took Wasker's quote, reposted that for everyone to see. And they're heating it up a little bit. Even though they're not going to clash, we've never seen that in the 59s. Ever. We've never seen 259s. And they're actually like shit talking. This is shit talking like this is Petrie Russ shit
Yeah.
talking.
Will he be
I don't
available
know.
next to compete or no?
I hope so, man.
That'd
I
be
don't know
great for the
how.
class.
Oh, it'd be great for the 59 kilo class because it'll help turn it in the direction of 69, 66s, but it'll also be amazing for Wasker. Wasker needs this, to your point. Like, if Ivan steps up, great. And Ivan's a young guy, world champ at juniors, and he's from Spain, so it's a nation on the rise. So for sure it'll be popular and all the Europeans will rally behind Ivan, which is a good thing. And they'll be like, man, kick this Yankees ass. And then all the Americans will rally behind Wasker, which is a good thing. So he'll get a rival. But it'd be amazing if the GOAT comes back too. And is like, you fellas want to play? We'll play. We'll play these games. And I don't know. Hopefully he comes back soon, man. Can you
Yeah.
imagine people are like, I can't wait for the 59 kilo class?
It's usually the class that we skip, but I don't know, since Waskar came on the scene, I've been watching it. I've been watching him there. I don't watch the entire flight. I skim through. I see him on. I'm like, all right, time to look. But yeah, he's a good guy. I DM him back and forth sometimes. Great dude. Great backstory too. It's insane.
Oh,
I
did you,
listened to that episode.
dude? There are people who like I couldn't believe his freaking backstory.
Yeah. So coming from that and being the man he is today, family, wife, kid, opening a gym, has a job, world champion, trying to become Sheffield, invitee. So doing all that from his, I guess, origins, like that's kind of crazy and it's pretty inspiring. So great dude, and he deserves everything he gets.
Yeah, I hope he could do it. And he's doing all the right things, and he just needs he needs a rival. Everybody
Yeah.
around him. Do you think about this? Like, if you start getting some heat, think about all the what you see what Wasker's doing and how much attention he's getting by doing the trash talk route. What do you think you could get pulled into this?
Um, if if I get big enough, like if my total gets big enough, first of all, like I have to actually
Mm.
be competitive firsthand. But with Russ, I don't see much of like a trash talk happening. Well, first of all, I can't even see his content. Like he's blocked me, so I don't know. I
Oh
don't know what's
shit! What
happening
did you
there.
do?
Okay, I have no idea. I've been asking this for the longest. I've never commented. I've never added. Actually, no, wait. I did add him one time in my story. And I think it was someone asking like who the goats of powerlifting are, and I didn't put him there. And then someone was like, "Oh, is he the goat 83?" I'm like, "Yeah, but he's not like the goat." It's either that he saw and got mad and blocked me, or it was the like a dilemma I had with Flex. And I don't know because I've never actually commented or DM'd him or said anything actually bad about him. I actually gave him his flowers, calling him the best 83 of all time, but not the best powerlifter of all time. So I don't know. That's the only answer I can give you because I've never actually spoken to the man.
The Yeah, I don't think he considered himself the GOAT overall. So I think he'd actually agree with you there. He's probably like so if you were like, look, he's a GOAT 83, but not all weight classes, period. Because he's been on the podcast saying openly, like, I think Perk is a better powerlifter pound for pound than me.
Yeah.
But it'd be difficult to not he's got to be the GOAT 83, right?
Yeah, 100% for sure. He's
I think
better
so
than
too.
Gibbs, better than Hack. Gibbs had two chips, Hack has one.
Yeah.
Russ has been doing it for what, like 6, 7, 8 years now, and he hasn't lost in recent times. Even on his
It's
worst
been
day, he
forever.
wins. So
It's
yeah,
got to
he's
be
the
him.
GOAT.
I when I say this, sometimes I get people in the DMs who are big time Brett Gibbs guys, and I respect it because Brett did 862.5 back in 2020 on a mock meet day
Yeah,
when we were all shut down and he was anticipating Sheffield. And yeah, okay, Brett was special, but I think if you're looking at resumes, it still has to be, it's got to be Russ. And if and sure, he's got two world titles. And Russ has got two. Even right now, before this world that's about to happen, Russ has been number one for 5 years, half a decade. That's crazy in this sport. And he's probably going to add another world title. I think he doesn't need this other world title. I think we're already at the place where he's the GOAT 83.
yeah.
But anyways, but I don't think it was that. Was it so there was friction one time between you and the Flex Squad?
I think it was to do with another anonymous Q&A I had on my story. Someone was like shit talking Flex, and I was like, because I basically asked someone asked who are the best coaches. I said Flex, Denovi, Marcellus, and two others. I think Sean and David Wilson. So I named those five, right? Someone responded to that story in another Q&A later on saying Flex is overrated. And I said, what do you mean? His athletes speak for himself. Like he has all these world champion athletes. So I was backing him up. And then the
Mm.
dude said something else saying he just kept shit talking Flex. And the next story after, I posted a skull emoji and said, bruh. And Flex thought I was agreeing with him, I guess. So me and him talked it out. Yeah,
Oh,
we talked it out. We're fine now. Me and Flex are cool. Like we talk in the DMs. But I maybe Russ saw that and didn't like what I was saying. I don't know. But I still have no idea why Russ Russ doesn't like me or he's blocked me. Like he's unfollowed a bunch of lifters for no apparent reason. I don't know. So
Did he unfollow you or block you?
he unblocked or he blocked me. I don't think he ever followed me in the first place.
Dog, the block is
Yeah.
the harshest.
I don't know why though. Like the only reason I found out is because I was going to the same gym as him. Coincidentally, I was like, oh, I'm going to Paradise Gym in Miami. He was going there for like I guess some GBT type of thing, and they're like, oh, you're following Russ because I live 4 hours up north from Miami. I'm in Orlando, so I was like, what do you mean I'm following Russ? They're like, he's going to Paradise Gym as well. I'm like, I can't even see the story. So they sent me the story. I can't see it. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I go to my girlfriend's phone. I check his story and everything, and I'm like, oh shit, like, what are the chances we're going to the same gym on the same day? And he blocked me either that day or within the week, it had to have been. So I don't know.
Oh shit! So because you could tell that because you were seeing him before, like were
Yeah.
you following him before?
Yeah, I was following him. I was able to see his content and then randomly stop seeing it. Someone DM'd me about me
Yeah.
going to the same gym as him. I couldn't see that. Checked my girlfriend's phone, looked at his story, and I was like, oh shit, I guess we're going to the same gym. So I did see him the next day though. I didn't say anything though.
No shit, you saw him too?
Yeah, I saw him the next day at the gym. I was squatting and he was right there signing belts or something.
And were you like, God damn it, this is awkward?
It was pretty, I mean, it was only awkward because like I thought he didn't know who I was. And then me
He must
knowing
have though. He must
he
have if
had
he
to have.
blocked you.
So if anything, it was like a badge of honor that I got blocked. I was like, damn, he knows me. And this was like a
It's
year
it's
ago. So,
it's oh I have no idea because everything you said so far was unless it was a miscommunication and somebody, you know how shit goes. Someone could have said,
yeah,
so and so's talking shit or whatever. Like it's who knows, or it could have been I don't know. I'm not sure. But the block is different because the block is
intentional.
yeah, the block is it's a whole nother move. It's a whole nother move. Because it sounded like you were sticking up for Flex, being like, what are you talking about? And you said
I
he's one of
was,
the
yeah.
best. And you also said Russ is the GOAT, 83. So it's yeah, I'm not sure. It was
I mean,
could be some miscommunication. On the flip side, though, some people also don't want to see competitors or whatnot for whatever reason. I'm not sure if that'd be Russ though, because he's a competitive dude.
I was a 75 at the time, and this was before Nats of last year. This was a while ago. And I'm not in any of the
Hmm.
group chats either. I'm not in those powerlifting group chats where they send memes and shit. Like, I'm not in any of those either. So I don't know how or why he has like this negative connotation with my name. So
It's you know what? Probably then miscommunication or something,
that's what
or
I'm
some kind of
thinking.
hearsay flew by that's not real, and you got roped into something that's not it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's probably something that's I wouldn't yeah. It's unfortunate because especially if you come up watching Russ and
Yeah.
you're like, oh
I
shit,
did.
and it becomes like a frick, I didn't know we had friction. But whatever it is, what it is. At some point, you guys will work it out, I'm sure, in the future. But it must be kind of weird because when you saw him, you were probably like, frick, do I like ask him, like, hey man, we all good? Like, I didn't even know you knew who I was. And now I'm
Well,
flattered you know who I am because as a lifter, that's pretty cool. But now I'm conflicted because I think you don't like me. And I'm like, what happened, my dude? You miss the thing is, you miss your opportunity to work it out.
you're right. But I'll see him on the platform soon, right? So
That's right too. That's oh, that was a pretty good. That was a pretty good without missing me. We'll see it on the platform though.
yep.
After this podcast, obviously he's gonna know who you are for sure.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, man. It's the powerlifting. Have you ever like unfollowed people, block people, etc.?
Um, I've unfollowed, but not nothing powerlifting related, just like old friends or something, or just people I just lost, I guess, connections with. But I've never had any like ill intent with someone and where I had a block. So
It it's a weird thing. So they've had weird situations where some people they'll get weird with you, and
yeah.
you're like, hey man, you got it. You're getting weird. Like boundaries are getting like this is getting weird. And we might see each other and the shit's gonna get awkward, man. Like and things can get weird like that, where you're like, oh. and I've had to block people. And this can happen sometimes. And and also so I can understand a couple ways why people might block or unfollow because you're seeing some shit you might not want to see. You might be like, look at, I'm not trying to cat like it's not a bad thing, whatever, but I'm not trying to see all of that either. Like some competitors will unfollow people they're going to compete against because they're like, I don't want you to influence my training, even pull me out of pocket. I remember back like in 2016, John Hack, like you said, was like, I watched Brett Gibbs train. When I was running the IPF Instagram, I would purposely post Brett Gibbs if he did a top, like a triple or top single, and John did a top triple or single or whatever the shit. They did it in the same week. I did it as King of Lifts and IPF. I would repost both of them just to hype this and say in the comments who looked better, who like it's just comparing them, and because they're
Yeah.
going to clash. And John said like I would see these things like, man, I got to pick it up. Like he would, it will influence you sometimes. So I can get where a lifter might be like, I unfollow some competitors because I do not want to be influenced. Like it's some people who are highly competitive, it will. It'll make you, it'll push you, and so you don't want to get pulled out of pocket. Stay on the program. So I can understand all of it. I've been in, I've seen it all. So we're on the surface. You might think I won't need to do that. You never know. You never know as time goes by. I don't know. Social media is a weird thing, and you do have to keep your peace, so to speak, your mental peace, and kind of stay. It's a healthy way of staying in the same position. Like Russ has been on top for so long, he probably knows how to navigate the waters and stay mentally okay. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Maybe you'll be in that position where you have to start thinking about these kind of things at a certain point. But you've never gotten any kind of weird situations yet in your social media experience?
Nope, not any I can remember. So if I can't remember it, it probably wasn't weird enough.
Wasn't weird enough, man. The thing with a podcast too, you can get very fired up powerlifting fans in your DMs when you speak on subjects, and it'll be some of it's all good sports debate, and it is what it is. I've had like people who I've had. Have you had social media is like brought you in and you start like debating someone or whatever the shit, and you actually become like friends. You see each other at events. It's like, hey man, like as the sport brought you together through social media.
I'd say social media brought me and my coach together through shit talk.
Who's your coach?
So his name is Luke Eckerl. He's actually not a coach. Like he doesn't. That's not his job. He's becoming, or he's in school right now to become a neurosurgeon. So he's a genius of a kid. He's younger than me, and I'm trusting him to program me. So
Oh
he's a
wow.
genius. Yeah, he's a genius in or about to be in med school. Um, and the way I found out about him, so when I was 17, I did that meet with Atwood where he did his 813 or whatever he totaled. I did 640. I broke like a team two American record or something. And my coach's friend, my coach's name Luke. His friend is Peyton. Peyton was shit talking me in my comments saying, "This kid is on roids. He can't do this naturally." I was like, "What are you talking?" Like he was just shit talking me because I broke the record. Because his coach, my Luke, my I guess coach now, he wanted to break the record first. I ended up
Oh
breaking
damn.
my meet. His friend shit talks me. We end up going in the DMs back and forth. Like he was like, "Oh, I'm just joking. My friend just wanted to break the record first." I was like, "All right." I was like, "Who's your friend?" And he tells me about him. He's like, yeah, who's your coach?" And I'm like, I don't have a coach. I just go in the gym and I max out whenever I want." And he's like, "Oh, well, my friend Luke coaches me." And I was like, "Oh, does he want to coach me?" It sounds like he knows what he's doing. So he got me into connections with him. We started talking, me and Luke, back and forth. And then ever since then, we just been training, and he's been getting me right. But now our relationship is more so like a connection, like a 50-50 type of deal. Because I am a coach myself. This is what I study, versus this is like his hobby. But I do like having someone oversee my training. I'm not saying I can't coach myself. I could, but having those barriers and those boundaries and his expertise and the data he has on me itself, that does help me in the long run because if not, I'll probably be overshooting like crazy. I'll make my own ranges. I'll be putting RP eights, nines, and actually do her 8 or 9. I'll go 10 every week.
Well,
But yeah, having him in my corner is pretty cool because I don't see any other top athlete like with a pseudo coach you can call him because he's not like I said he's not a real coach. He doesn't have a brand. He doesn't have any other athletes. I'm just his only athlete. So it's a weird dilemma, interesting, unique, but I wouldn't change it for the world because I could have been with Flex. I'm not saying Flex would have taken me or anything, but I could have been with these high level coaches. But there's no point when progression hasn't slowed down. Plus, like I said, Luke has all these years of knowledge on me. We can go back after on the Google Sheets after 20, 30, 40 blocks, right? So
hmm.
it's kind of intense. But yeah, our connection just keeps on growing. He's a friend now. I fly him out to meets. He drives to meets. Like it's a pretty cool like friendship we've grown over the years.
Obviously it's working, first off.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, so like it was a good move and stick with it. It's interesting when you choose someone and you throw your future on the line with someone who you don't know if they've he before you had never taken anybody to the world championship and won a
Yeah.
world title, etc. It's a bit of a leap of faith, but it happens. Like this has happened before. Someone like Taylor Atwood took a risk on Jason Tremblay, who was starting the strength guys, and now look at Taylor Atwood. And this happens time and time again, but it's risky because there's so many guys out there as coaches and girls out there as coaches who don't make it like that.
Mhm.
But it does happen. And to your point about being your own coach, if the coach is comfortable enough and confident enough to give you some leeway, so you can add in, I would like to do this, I would like to do that. Give me your input. Let's measure out. And they're like, okay, I got you. I also noticed what you don't like, but I think you need it. And I noticed
Mhm.
you didn't put that in there. Let me. And so there's that conversation, and we all do it. And
Yeah.
there's the accountability of Joe. Have you been doing your Bulgarian split squats or whatever it is that you hate? and and it's like if even if you even if the answer is yes, is it a yes because you know somebody's going to be checking in or somebody's you owe it to them and maybe it helps. Even if like sometimes just knowing somebody's reviewing your program and somebody's checking in will be enough to be like, I got people counting on me and I can't drop the ball and we agreed to this. It's like a contract. You
Yeah.
guys both put this program together. You got to see it through. And it's different now. And to your point about even more importantly, probably not peaking in the gym and leaving your best in the gym. So staying on your RPEs. And when you're like, this is what I'm thinking for next week's single. And he might be like, I don't think you need that
Yeah.
much, stuff like that. And having that, or flip side, even when you both agree, at least then you're the peace of mind being confident when you walk into worlds. You're not like, I was driving this car alone, but was I driving drunk those last 3 weeks? Holy shit, I hit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where at least your buddy who's with you, you calm down right before the big event when it's like, holy crap. And that's when you're really gut checking your time. That's when you remember all the days you missed, or that's when you remember all the accessories you didn't do, or that's all that kind of stuff. And you could be like, no, I had someone else review this.
Yeah.
Use Jason Tremblay again. He would write Taylor Atwood's program, send it to a guy with two PhDs on load management to peer review. Dog, I'm talking about a powerlifting program, and he's getting peer review from a guy with PhDs for Taylor's prep for Worlds, and then that's what Taylor's walking in with, and he's like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
It means something to be like, we're all good. And if something hit the fan, and you have to do audibles like injuries or whatever the shit or a tough cut, it means something to know even if you don't have to, it's there for you to make the phone call and he's there.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal. So that's why I totally get where you're like, I could probably coach myself, but I don't think as an athlete, it's probably not a good policy to do, you
It's
know?
not.
It's,
We can all
have
become
somebody.
neurotic with our own training. Like we every time we always like, oh, is this an we always watch our own videos, right? Like you might hit a PR and be like, oh, I misgrooved this, I misgrooved that. You send it to your coach, he's like, bro, it was just heavy. Your tech's gonna break down somewhat. Chill out. Like just having someone there with me, just besides holding me accountable, which I really don't need. I'm pretty on top of my own things, but just knowing that someone that intelligent, like a brain surgeon, like I said, he's in med school, becoming one. He's younger than me. He's he's one of the smartest people I know. And just knowing he's there in my corner to review my programming, plus me knowing that he has no other athletes, so he's equally as invested in my
Wow.
programming and my progress as I am. Just knowing that another person is there with me with his IQ is just it's a huge mental break for me. Basically, keeps me calm, keeps me collected. I'm still kind of like schizo when I talk to him. I'm like, yo, is this good? Is this good? Is this good? And he'll just be like, chill, bro. You're fine. Like you can take this single next week. You're good. Don't worry about it. We're sticking to the plan. It kind of like calms me down knowing that I have that especially a friend, right? So he's a friend, a coach, intelligent. I'm his only athlete. Like it's like the perfect storm in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be nearly as emotionally attached, which you need
Yeah.
in the heat of the moment. Athletes need coaches. In what sport? The like, how often you see a freaking MMA fighter and he's got no corner?
Yeah.
Don't bet on him. Anyways, if you see that, that's a bad sign, by the way. Like, yeah, right. Just saying. But like, how many, like, all teams, everyone, you have coaches, man. It
Mhm.
like, even the best of the Michael Jordan got coached. He knows what to do. Give him the ball. But he's going to have a coach to help. You have to have somebody around for those type of moments. It's really unique that you're his only one.
Yeah.
So he's because before in your story he had more. He eventually that was it.
Yeah, well, it was his friend Peyton, the one that was shit talking me. It was me and him as his, I think, only two athletes. Peyton ended up going into the Air Force, so he's not powerlifting anymore. And at least what I've noticed, I am his only athlete. He might be coaching his roommate, but it's either me and him
I
or
on the
just me by
side
myself.
with his first
His
he's just
side
a
chick, I don't
roommate.
know.
He's just a roommate. And then now they're friends and now they're coaching. Excuse me? I don't think so. I don't think so. I want answers on that. And okay,
Yeah.
I want answers on that because if I see him repost a heavy squat, I don't like that. I don't like that. He
No,
said let me guess, he told you you were his one and only. Is that right?
he didn't. He didn't say that. I'm just assuming that.
He told you. Let me tell you something. He told a lot of guys that. All right.
Probably.
He's told it's only you. You're the only one. God. I know guys like him, Joe. I know guys like him. You watch him. Charismatic devil. I know all about him. But
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it is cool that well, how long do you think he's gonna do it if he because he's gonna be a brain surgeon, you're saying?
Yeah, he's about to be in med school. He's taking his last final, I think today actually. And
Oh
then
my
after
God.
that, he's going to med school, and within 4 years, he'll be a doctor. Yep.
Okay, 4 years. Oh, like, yeah, like how long are you eventually? Is he going to move on, and you're going to have to find a new coach? Do you think you guys had this talk, or I guess if it's just, I don't know. This is it. This is going to be an interesting situation.
No, we're sticking together. We have to.
Yes,
It's like MJ and Phil Jackson. We got to
that's
stick
right.
together.
Like, listen, I don't care if you're a freaking. It's is it actually brain surgery that he's doing?
And neurosurgeon. Yep. He's neurobiology, I think.
Because literally people say like, well, I mean, come on, it's not brain surgery. Relax. Because people
Oh
use
no,
brain
it is for
surgery
him.
as like the people use brain surgery as like the most
Yeah,
complicated. Oh my gosh. So they use it like, oh, come on, man, it's not brain surgery. Like, blah, blah, blah. Do this. Literally, your coach is a freaking brain surgeon.
exactly.
Like
Yep.
he is that. That's crazy. That's wild. I just hopefully I don't know how
And that's why
crazy
I
it's gonna
trust him to
be when
coach.
you yeah, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. And in terms of like pressure of handling you in a big meet, I mean, my dude, he's gonna have people's heads opened up and he's gonna be tinkering
Yeah.
around with it. You know what I mean? Like, are you okay to perform under this pressure? Is like, I think we'll be okay.
A
You know what
couple
I'm saying?
kilos isn't
Nobody's
like like,
nobody's gonna die if I misattempt this second bench press attempt. We're all
yeah,
good here. Thank you very much. I got this pressure. I
yeah.
slept fine last night. Thank you. We're all good. Wow, he sounds like a super interesting dude, man.
Yeah, it's strong too. He used the power lift. Best squat was 700.
Holy
Best bench was
shit.
four. Yeah, strong ass kids. Corn fed from Illinois, I think, or Indiana. I'm not sure. But
What weight
yeah,
class
strong.
is he?
He when he did the 700 squat, he was I think 110. I think. Don't quote me on that though.
Rig, man.
Yeah.
Big Jack
Oh,
dude, strong. What the hell is this guy's background?
uh,
Smart as shit. You
yep.
put him together in a laboratory, man. What the hell? Don't tell me he's handsome because life isn't fair. Like, what the hell is going on here? Wow. Wow. Good for him. Tall, well, he's
Yep.
probably 6'3", full head of hair. You know what? Fuck this guy. I don't like him now.
No,
He's everything I.
he's 5'11.
He's
5'11, good looking man, not gonna lie.
okay. At least he's under 6 foot. Now he's tolerable. Because he started turning the corner on me for a second there. It started getting a little too good. Started being like, I can't be
Yeah.
around this guy. I feel bad about myself. All right, under 6 foot's fine. He's back in. We'll work with it. But or you're lying just to just to make it not as bad. But yeah, God bless. Life's funny. So is he going to be with you flying to? Where's Junior Worlds at?
Malta. Yep.
Oh, dude, Malta is absolutely beautiful.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Malta is literally where they filmed. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I have not. No, I have not.
Okay. Malta is where they filmed Game of Thrones, where they have like tons of those castles and like it's like Roman culture. It's right on the south of Italy. So it's and they have like their
Yep.
own background, but very heavily influenced by the Romans, obviously, in Italian culture and food and whatnot. But also from Africa, because they're like right close to Africa. It is freaking beautiful. The weather's amazing. You guys are gonna absolutely love Malta. And he's going with you to Malta?
He will not be going with me to Malta. No. He has an
Awesome.
internship coming up. So, and plus I don't need him to handle me. There's no like real risks at that meet either. I'll have well who are the coaches? That the US coaches at least. Arian, right?
Is it Arian for the juniors? Okay. I'd
I'm
have to
asking
double check.
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Okay, okay. I'm not sure. I know Matt Gary's got the open. I
Yeah.
don't know if Matt Gary's doing the juniors. If Matt Gary's doing the juniors, I mean, if Arian's doing the juniors, you're laughing. Arian's phenomenal as well. Like Arian and Matt Gary are both like top tip of the
Yeah.
tippy top when it comes to game day. You are not getting outplayed by anybody in the world if you got either of those guys. Team
Yeah.
USA's always got excellent coaching. There
Mhm.
are some nations that they show up at these international events, and I'm trying to be nice on the commentary, but I'm like, whoa, that was an interesting attempt selection. And they're even like, let's be honest, you see this even at like sometimes at nationals and whatnot. Like, there's some look at when it comes to the international events. I think programming wise, um, domestically in the US, phenomenal.
Yeah.
But handling wise, game day is a whole nother beast. And internationally speaking, there are international national team coaches that study game day, like they know all the rules in the temp selection, and they literally go into an international event. Like Rory Lynch, who's done the podcast many times, talked about how when they go into a national event, if you're nominated fifth,
Mhm.
if you move up to third, we're all good. If you were nominated fifth and you end up eighth, we need to read that report on why our lifter went down 3 slots. And I need to we're going to review your attempt selection and the attempt selection of the others and find out what happened. And that is what happens to national team coaches.
Mhm.
And that is the tight ship that Matt Gary runs as well on himself, where if he goes in and his expectations are first across the board, almost exclusively. Maybe in the women's, there's a couple where it's like we're going to shoot for third or something like that, because Evie Corrigan's in there. So Megan Hurlbert probably isn't going to be you're not probably not going to be beat Evie Corrigan, but he will review if things didn't go as planned. Why was that? Did I fuck up a little? did I overshoot on? And you see stuff at the national level that would never happen at Worlds because it's a whole nother ball game. And if you miss one of your attempts, some of these other national teams that they take attempt selection and what happens in the game day that important, where they do reports. What were your attempts? What were the other attempts? And they will review it on you. If you aren't on that level, they're going to eat your food. You
Yeah.
start missing, it's a problem. I don't know junior worlds how if it's quite like that, but I don't know open worlds 100%. 100%. And it's exciting to see. I love hearing Matt Gary talk about game day
Yeah. He's the
handling.
goat. He is the goat handler, I have to say.
100%.
And
100%.
he's
If
all the expertise in his brain. Like I listened to all the podcasts with like the goat discussions and all that with him. He has even the Jeopardy one you had that was pretty entertaining. So yeah,
dude, it was
he
hilarious.
dug some things out of that brain that I didn't know existed. He
What
pulled a
was
lot.
what was funny is nobody else was getting them and he was getting them. And if he missed, he got points taken away. And
Yeah,
at some point, I think Eric Helms or someone's like, the only person who could beat Matt Gary at this point is Matt Gary because none of us are even in this game anymore. I
yep.
think Matt Gary's and and Rory made a meme of KOTL trivia team at 100%, and it was all four of the hosts. KOTL trivia team at 99%, and it was Matt Gary by himself.
Yeah,
It's like
man,
I
he's a
think we
big
contribute.
vault of knowledge, the bank
I
vault
think
of
we could.
knowledge in that brain.
Yeah, we contributed 1% on that. At some point, I was thinking about having a another Jeopardy trivia game. Like everyone was saying, I got to do it again. I just got whatever. It got away from me for a second. I got busy with so many other things. But I need to source who could go head to head, win a couple of games, and go ahead against Matt Gary.
Oh wow. I
Who could
don't.
do that?
You need like a team of five versus Gary himself. And it can't be like Jeopardy style. It has to be like at the end of Jeopardy where they write the answer down and then they all show at the end. Well, I
Mm,
don't know what it's called. But it should be
me
something like
neither.
that for each question. So at the end of Jeopardy, how it goes is like you bet how much money they give you the question, you bet how much money on it, and then if you get it right, you basically get the money that you bet, and if you get it wrong, you lose all the money that you bet. So it can be something like that for each question, because I think the only way for Gary to lose would be like a whole team of people discussing the question prior and then going head to head like that.
You would have to. We got to think of something. I mean, I remember Matt Gold when because he runs that Future of Powerlifting account and he's got a
Yeah.
podcast as well with Adriana Davis, who are
Mhm.
both super nice. They were on the podcast. Those guys are
Yep.
awesome. And he was like commenting about the trivia game in the stories. And when we ran the podcast, I'm like, my man, you want to go against Matt Gary? And there was like a hesitation. I'm like, oh no, 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 no. You had your chest out with his social media on Instagram stories. Keep your chest out, young man, because we can make this happen. Matt Gary will wait for you. And I remember Matt Gary in his story did The Rock in the cage doing that gif where The Rock is like calling people on, like, come and get some, come and get some. So we'll see. I got to put it together. I'll find, there'll be a couple of listen, anybody listening to this, if you're a powerlifting trivia nerd, I bet you there's another 55-year-old dude in fucking Germany or some shit. He's been around and he's been under Matt Gary's shadow for decades. And he can't wait. And he's gonna come back and none of us will know who he is. And Matt Gary will be like, oh shit, it's you. And he'll be like, yeah, it's me, you piece of shit. He's, you thought you lost me in 99, but I've been following you ever since. And we're gonna, there'll be something like that. Yeah, it's fucking me. I'm back. It was East Germany last time you saw me, and now the world changed, but
Yeah.
I never did. But I never did. And we're gonna settle this shit. Something like that's gonna happen. I can feel it. So it's a casting call. Come one, come all. But and it won't all be old school trivia. We'll sort it out.
Yeah, probably
But anyway,
2016 and up. If it was a 2016 and up type of trivia, I think that would give an actual like chance for Gary to be challenged. But If it's any old school thing, yeah, we're done. We're not. No one's competing with him.
Maybe if I do, yeah, me or like or just more 2016 and up, not
Yeah.
all. All is too much because you can't totally not. It's like a basketball and being like, not touching on the 90s or 80s or, Michael Johnson. You gotta have some. You gotta have some, but
Mm.
but not all. But some of it's like, yeah, all right, I'll sort it out. We're gonna work out the rules right now. Be like right down to the nitty gritty. Let's
Yeah.
do it all. But you're right. But also, if I could find one more guy from Matt Gary's era and one guy around 30 and one guy in his 20s who's got a chip on his shoulder like Matt Gold. And then we'll see what's up. We'll see what is what. I just got to be very stealthful with who I'm grabbing.
Mhm.
But I think I could put together one more charity game. I thought Eric Helms literally researches the history of strength sports, and he's
Yeah.
phenomenal. Man, Eric Helms got a PhD himself. The dude is brilliant. You want to get humbled, sit down and have a for real conversation with Eric Helms. It's like your friend. And damn, if Matt Gary doesn't even the playing field real quick, though. Damn, if it's a humbling and Rory Lynch is a nerd for powerlifting. Rory Lynch does everything I told you about game day handling the whole nine. He's in. Damn, if Matt Gary didn't make these guys look like it was year one for them and they were just checking it out. But
Yeah.
so your next it's humbling, man. So your next comp, who is all in at this Junior Worlds? Is there more highlights we should be aware of? I
We
haven't
got
looked in how far out are you again, sorry, for Junior
it.
Nats?
It's not. It's May 19th. So what is that? Like 18, 17 days out. Less than 3 weeks, more than 2 weeks. But we have so Sean Mills doing it, Grant
Mm,
Iverson's doing it. Who else is doing it? I think that's like the two biggest names other than myself. Grant Iverson and yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, those two guys, and then me. Dylan Turner, if you know who that is, young dude.
yep.
I think he got around 800 kilos this meet. He's like a 93, I believe. I'm trying to think.
Like, how's our national team? I say our shit. I forget I'm not American. How is the national team um looking? Like, I know obviously in the open, it's strong as hell and phenomenal. But on the junior world level, what are we looking at here?
I'm not thinking we're gonna like sweep, obviously, because we still have wait, who's the Spaniard, the 74 junior? Did is he still a junior or no? Last
Yeah,
year, I
he's
believe.
won a couple world titles. Is he still?
Yeah,
That's
he won
Alberto.
66 and then 74. I know that.
Yeah, that's Alberto, and he's been on podcasts a couple times. He's
Yeah, I've
blown
heard him
up
before.
in Spain,
Yep.
dude. His YouTube and his social media posts are fun, like just blow up because you forget how many countries speaks because Spain was a nation that colonized back in the past. You forget how
Yeah.
many nations around the world speak Spanish. My
Mhm.
man blew up. So hats off to him, and he's doing great. I don't think he's still a junior. I think he's in the open now.
If that's the case, then I see we because we have a guy named Matt Faldrell. I'm not sure if you know who that is. So he's a 74. So I think he'll secure the win. I'll secure the win for 83. Weeze will secure the win for what is it, 120, Grant 105. So I think we're pretty stacked, but we're not going to clean sweep like the Open, I believe. But yeah, we have a solid team, I'd say. I'm not sure about the women's side. I have no idea who's the sub junior, junior women. Don't Can't even ask me those questions. Um, but yeah, I think we're doing pretty solid. I think we're gonna hopefully walk home with the I guess first place points, right? That's how the rankings is determined by
Yeah,
like points.
it's yeah, a gold medal is 12, a silver medal
Yeah,
is 9, and then so on and so forth down. And they take the top five placers from your team.
yeah,
So yeah, it we'll see. It's interesting because I pay attention, especially at the worlds, to see what nation's on the rise and see what I can glean from it. I'm just taking a look at nominations right now. But you guys haven't even done your nationals yet, so I don't think that'll do any good. I know Timur, the 120 plus from Georgia, who's an absolute monster, and
yeah,
he's fast on the rise, and I think he's still a junior. Whether or not he's going to do junior worlds again, I don't know. He's going to do open worlds, but if he shows up, that's going to be awesome to see. He's strong as shit.
yeah.
He's 1100 kilos and up type of guy now. Like He's good. He's behind Jesus, but he's number two in the world, period.
Mhm.
And
It's
we'll
a
see what
beast.
happens with him. Yeah, he's an absolute monster. It'd be awesome if he shows up in Malta. It kind of depends on the schedule. I know he's doing open worlds now. He does open Euros, even though he's still a junior, man. He'll be something. We'll see though. He would definitely derail. Like sweeping would be insane. I don't think it, but
Yeah,
first
no.
place is definitely on the table for you guys. But yeah, I'll pay attention and see. Well, listen, man. Thank you for coming on the podcast. So you know what? First off, tell everybody how to get a hold of you for coaching.
So it's all done through my Instagram, Joe dot Borenstein. My name will probably be in the title of this video, right? Or
It
the
will.
podcast. So you can just search up my name through that. DM me if needed. And my coaching page is actually linked in that bio. So just click that. You can DM the coaching page or my personal. But right now, I am not accepting any athletes like just yet. I'm still in school, so I just want to finish this semester up. After that, I'll make an announcement on my story when I am accepting, because I do have a maxed out roster. But yeah, if you're a high quality athlete, you're dedicated to powerlifting, just hit me up. I'll be glad to talk to you. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm open book. You can just DM me whenever, wherever.
Dude, I got a feeling your rates are going to be going up real soon. So people should get in now, lock it in, build that rapport because your rates have got to be going up
Yeah,
after when you do what you're about to do. And for some people who don't know, it's going to be big.
yeah.
It's going to be big. We'll talk after. Good luck with obviously PA Nats. You're going to do fine. You're going to blow it up. And are you going all out at PA Nats?
Probably not all out, but I'll be hitting near top ends, I'd say. At least 842 and a half. I'm just gonna say that.
I was okay. I was going to say, well, what is near top ends? Wow.
Yeah.
You won't have to go out and you'll hit 842 and a half.
Yep. I mean, I have my big SBD day tomorrow, so it's my last one. We'll see.
I'll be paying attention, sir. I got a feeling I'll be paying attention. And then obviously junior worlds after that, there
Yep.
you'll be going out because you're looking to make your statement. Um, so we'll see, man. We're gonna watch with bated breath, my friend. See if you can pull from the pack because there's a pack of you guys behind Russ now on the rise, but somebody's got to emerge. And we talked about Wasker needing somebody. Russ could use someone as well, and he might not want to wait. The world doesn't want to wait for Perk to decide if he's going to 83.
I'll
Maybe
make
it's
it
you.
happen. I'll make it
Make
happen.
it happen, young man. Make it happen.
Already have the
Listen,
backstory. I'm blocked. So
that's it. Use it. It's something. He'll probably unblock you. Like, ah, shit, that was the wrong Joe. I don't know. I was thinking of someone else. Okay. He's like, actually, I like that kid. Well, what am I doing here? But but yeah, man, good luck with training. Good luck at PA Nats and good luck at Worlds. We got to keep in touch. We got to do more podcasts, dog. This is
yes,
easy.
sir.
We crushed over 2 hours, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But we'll have a lot to talk about in the future, I'm sure. So keep in touch, man. We'll talk in the
100%.
DMs. And everybody
Thank
listening,
you.
as
Thank you
per
for having me.
usual, yeah, for sure, my man, for sure. And everybody listening, please do subscribe. As per usual, give us high ratings. And until next time, six pack Lapadat, six up, and we are out.